KTFM Floresville, your home for the Super Bowl. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. San Antonio Sports Center.
In the NBA, the Spurs had a big old flex night with a 111-99 win over the Houston Rockets. Wemby was impressive, 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 blocks in the win. Spurs head to Charlotte for a 2 o'clock tip on Saturday. In other Spurs news, forward Jeremy Sohan has been given permission to find a trade partner. The Bulls, Hornets, Knicks, Lakers, and Suns are among the teams who do have interest in him. Speaking of trades, the Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is ready to move on as the Milwaukee Bucks have begun listening to aggressive offers, according to ESPN's Sham Charania. The Knicks, Heat, T-Wolves, and Warriors are said to be those in the mix. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center brought to you by Centergenics. Book your appointment at fixmylowteam.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, gather around. We got a lot to talk about. Yeah, we got we just talked about literally I have a light out.
Oh, yeah.
On my keyboard dashboard.
We don't know if the mic's on or not.
I looked down and I stumbled out of the gate on a Thursday edition of the Morning Huddle. Welcome aboard. I'm Rob Thompson, be with you, captaining this boat for the next 4 hours. My first mate, my Gilligan. AJ in the hole. He'll be back tomorrow. He's en route back to San Antonio today after a couple days in Vegas. And this is my last day. I won't be sitting in this chair for over a week. Man. Laissez bon temps rouler today, heading to New Orleans to Mardi Gras.
You're going to be in a parade?
I'm going to watch one. I'm going to wear my crop top. I'm going to earn some beads.
I was going to say, bring me back some beads, man.
I
do it.
I'm. This is my first experience on one of these local weekends. The big crowds haven't showed up yet. Fat Tuesday's not till for another couple and a half weeks. But I'm with it's called the Crew. What's it called? Crew de View.
Oh, okay.
And the Crew Delusion will be going off. I don't know. I'm just heading that way. I'm brain dead. Part of it was I stayed up way too late last night watching a spectacular road win from the Spurs. Well played, second half, a kind of basketball game I think a lot of Spurs fans have been wanting. They held on to a lead that they had attained in the second half, battled off runs, and ran away late in the fourth. Unaccustomed to seeing that from the Spurs. We're going to delve into a whole lot of reasons why, and also talk a whole lot about, even in the win, the Spurs have a glaring weakness. One, we know. We have two glaring weaknesses. I shouldn't say that. But and both can be addressed in the trade market. It's just a matter of how badly we feel they need to be addressed. But one in particular was highlighted last night. But apart from the issues for contention, the game itself was just it started out kind of like we were afraid we were going to see. The Rockets came out rough and tough, and the Spurs looked like they were on their heels, weren't attacking, weren't on a string on defense. It was just about everything you were afraid of. And then there was a very unique moment, one moment in time, that might have changed Wemby's orbit forever. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Did anybody see the game beforehand, the LeBron-led Lakers in Cleveland? That was a crazy optic experience to watch LeBron. I've never seen LeBron cry. I heard
is that his last game?
I heard well, no, it's not his last game. I don't even think this is his last year. But the game itself was remarkably emotional for LeBron. I think that was why? I heard somebody on the air last night. I think it was Kendrick.
Okay.
Perk, who made some valid points about LeBron. I think some of them, some of the LeBron was, and we're going to stick to this thread all day long before the Morning Brigade to kind of let this percolate. Do you think that Cleveland is the only place LeBron truly feels loved? Everywhere else he's been a mercenary. And certainly he's adored in Miami, and certainly in the Laker legend, he's certainly there. But I think there's something about what Kendrick Perkins said, that the only place that LeBron truly feels safe and comfortable is Cleveland. He let his guard down last night, that's for sure. So I don't know what the portent to that is, either coming up to this current trade deadline or what's going to go on in the free agency. I think everybody agrees LeBron won't be a Laker no more. But last night was interesting. We're going to kind of look into that and see what the ramifications of his actions were, because I don't think it was happenstance. I don't think that, that he was just suddenly struck by emotion. Not that the emotions weren't real, but I do think there was a little bit of, welcome me home, bring me home. The East is wide open. I can help. And I think the Lakers would fondly wave goodbye. Boy, the stink from the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, is getting bigger and uglier, man. Did you see all yesterday? I mean, we talked about it all yesterday.
Was all over, yeah.
Ooh, boy.
It was everywhere, man.
If nothing else, if I'm tags up in Fifth Avenue, I'm like, we got to fix this. I got other stuff going on.
Yeah, we live in a world where Belichick didn't make the Hall of Fame and Shador is a Pro Bowler.
Yes, exactly.
Like what?
And Tags was like, or Goodell. Sorry, Tags dead. Goodell is like, dude, I got work to do. We got a big game coming up in a week and a half, and I'm about to take my entire office to a mobile facility, and I gotta deal with a Hall of Fame vote.
Yeah,
bunch of ignorant writers. No, we gotta fix this. If nothing else, to avoid the annoyance right before future Super Bowls. But what an interesting turn. And we got a new coach. It was announced as we went off air yesterday that Todd Monken is now the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. That, here or there. Well, we didn't get a chance to really kind of look into it. But you brought up Shador, and I do think that he was brought in for a purpose. I'm not sure it was Shador, but you bring in a guy that runs that kind of offense with that kind of former quarterback, and then you look at the dudes that are standing in the quarterback room. There's a reason. I think it was about the dude that I think this was all about Deshaun Watson. This wasn't about Shador, but we're going to look into there. Look at we heard Steven yesterday, which is worthy of a listen. He came out and talked about his new DC. The NFL world in general, Super Bowl coming up. Stephen Jones, the general manager, soon to be heir apparent, and the money man for the Dallas Cowboys and son of Jerry, will be on as well. Anybody get a chance to hear John McClain yesterday on the Blitz? I didn't, and I was hoping to catch up on it. And the stink regarding, I say stink. The upheaval regarding what went on behind the scenes. Every writer that I've heard. Now, Shireen was the first voter that I heard from. And I know McClain was on, and I've heard it from a couple of you across the country who everybody knows they're voters. And the funny thing is, all of them are saying it wasn't them. I wanted to hear how McClain was going to say. Was he going to say it wasn't me? It was the other 47? But at some point, somebody's going to have to fess up to who in fact let this down. Now, we might not need to have it public all the time, but I can tell you for the next, you want to let the toothpaste out of the tube. Would you open up the ballots right now if you were in the NFL? Would you let the country know? Because those guys voted under the understanding that nobody's ever going to know what I voted for. This is a secret ballot. I wonder if you ripped the Band-Aid off, we really found out what was true and who didn't. I wonder if that would be enough to appease the crowds, to give the head of the put it on the press, put it on the old curmudgeons. It wasn't us. Well, the NFL is those guys, man. We wanted Belichick in.
Yeah, I want to know the number?
Well, I want to know who. But like I
who
said,
said no and who said
Sheree
yes.
was the first one to say it wasn't me. He was on my ballot. I heard 2 or 3 others. One out of Denver, another one like, hey, he was on my ballot. I wonder if those that protest too much have something to hide. We're going to get in there. Hey, it's a good old Thursday afternoon. Or Thursday morning. We love to hear from you. When I'm alone, I need someone to talk to. So keep your ear to the wheel and your eye on the steering wheel or whatever it might be. Hang with us. We got a lot to get into. The Spurs were spectacular last night. What did they do and what do they need to do to continue the roll? We're talking Spurs next. Hang on with us. This is the Morning Huddle, and you're 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Looks like we just cleared that trouble spot on 281. Southbound approaching 1604. It was an accident. Now clear. Now this road work at 35 southbound O'Connor to Weidner, that's still our heaviest delay this early morning, and that's due to road work. Alternating lanes closed along the way. It's causing about a 20-25 minute delay. Stop and go from Olympia Parkway. A stall at 410 eastbound Fredericksburg Road off to the shoulder. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by American Public University.
When orders change, the whole family moves. And when one person pursues a degree, the whole family supports them. American Public University makes it affordable and flexible so military families can make an impact and keep family first. Learn more at apu.apus.edu.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
I didn't want to call Bobo and have to have a confrontation.
Just make a change?
Yeah, because you're so bitchy.
We do it all the time.
You're so bitchy, Bobo.
You always want to
Do you realize how bitchy you are? And I don't want to fight with you.
You know, you calling me bitchy would be like me calling you a fat bastard. You know, that's projection, dude.
The John Clay Wolf Show.
Listen to the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturday morning at 8 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
For a limited time, get a free K5 reverse osmosis drinking water station when you purchase a Connecticut water softener. Clean, great tasting water at your kitchen sink. Hurry before they're gone.
ConnecticutSA.com.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information information by dialing 800-269-3394. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the big game in Silicon Valley. And the only local station bringing you exclusive wall-to-wall coverage from the Bay Area. All brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. We're live from Radio Row with insider interviews, breaking stories, and all the pregame excitement leading up to the superb Owl. From the biggest names in sports to behind-the-scenes access, we've got it all. Your AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage is brought to you in part by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. Your front row seat to the backstage action, live from the Bay Area, is 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. You're listening to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
It's the Morning Huddle here on San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Rob Thompson. No AJ today. We'll return tomorrow in my absence. Vic will maintain the consistent professional effort that we are known so well for.
Yeah.
Speaking of consistent professional effort, the San Antonio Spurs last night. That might have been their best roadie of the year.
Right?
There was a Boston win. But this one coming off the way they were beaten last time and the way the game started was everything that the Spurs needed to have happen with just enough adversity to make it feel like it was all worth the effort. I mean, they didn't just kick the Rockets' ass and the Rockets quit in the middle of the third quarter and we went home just flexing all over them. No, they had to fight from a hole. The first quarter, they hadn't gotten off the plane yet. They didn't start strong, and the Rockets did exactly what they did to close out the previous game, just manhandle the Spurs for about 6 minutes. They just bodied the Spurs in the paint, and the Spurs were on their heels reeling. And then one play. Sengun, big center for the Rockets, catches the ball on the elbow, probably 12 feet out to the right-hand side, and proceeds to dribble back, and just bodies Wemby 15 feet into the paint underneath the rim. That ended up in a free throw situation, but Sengun had a shot. Harrison Barnes was late on the help, even though it took Sengun about 30 seconds and 10 dribbles to get down to where he was going. It was old school, old man, back you into the rim basketball. And Wemby was a puppet. There was nothing there. He was paper mache. Sengun flexed, hit the free throws, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like the bear was poked. And Wemby became what we want Wemby to be at his best. Now, sometimes at his best involves a couple of threes that we all kind of, but the fact is those threes allow him to do some of those other things because you've got to pick him up half court. And more often than not, players are shocked by the first step that he offers as you charge to defend him in the open court. Watching De'Aaron Fox has helped his game there immensely. Now, he's still dribbling the ball about 8 foot up in the air, and it gets a tendency to get picked. But when he gets a head of steam, he gets from 20 feet away to the rim fast as anybody. And that just affects the game in so many ways. And then, as he started feeling himself, then he became that defensive presence where he was blocking shots from 6 feet away and altering others. Amon Thompson, by the end of the game, as soon as he touched the ball, that ball felt hot. He wasn't going to hold on to that ball. It was gone. He'd had nothing to do with the basketball because he knew they were going to back off. And the moment he turned like he was going to shoot, here comes the alien ready to knock it out of the sky. Amon did not have any role. He is a better version of Jeremy Sohan for the Rockets. There is no offense to be found from him, and it hurt him last night. And he was afraid of Wemby. I'm looking at the box. You know, Wemby, we had 29 minutes, 8 of 15 from the floor, but that included 0 of 3 from three-point land. He hadn't hit a three against the Rockets, I think, this year. Not just last game. I don't think he's hit one, period. But here's the difference. Here's where things matter. When you look at the stat line, and there's certain things that every coach looks at immediately when you get handed the box, whether it be at the quarter, at the half, at the end of the game. You're looking for turnovers. You know, when you're watching the game, you know if you had too many. You're looking for turnovers. You're looking for 50-50 stats, which is something you don't get off the box, but somebody's going to tell you. Those balls that both could get, who got them. And you're looking at offensive rebounding totals. That's what, to me, that's the coaches I've known, been there. The final is free throws. Wemby last night took 15 free throws and made 12 of them. And he did that in the fourth quarter after taking 12 rounds of elbows, knees, and hips from everybody on the front line. That's hard, especially the way he was, the wind that he has to deal with. So he played heavy minutes for him, took deep breaths, and made 12 of 15 free throws, and most of them when they truly mattered. It was as good a game as Wemby has played, so much so because he got mad and got even. It was embarrassing what Sengun had done in the first quarter, and all of the Rockets had done to the Spurs. It was embarrassing. They came out at home and inflicted their will, and the Spurs took the punch, got reeled, took a 10 count, stood up, and swung back, and didn't stop. Boy, we've needed that for a long time. You know, Wemby had the bear poked. Mitch Johnson needed that game. If they'd have lost last night, the way it appeared they were going to lose, the Barbarians are going to start circling. I was listening to the ESPN broadcast and the Houston Rocket broadcast intermittently during the game, going back and forth, because I wanted to hear perception from outside of the bubble, hear what the Nationals, or at least the opponents, are saying about the Spurs. And, of course, the Wemby thread is consistent. But both sides, whether you're watching the national feed or the Rocket feed, first quarter, all they could comment on was Spurs are looking better, but they're a bunch of kids. They're a bunch of kids that, they're almost there, but look at what Sengun just did to them. Look at what, skinny Kevin Durant's even getting in on some elbows and pushing off and being a tough guy. Look at what the grown men are doing to the boys. They're still dominating in the driveway. And it was like that for 8 minutes of the first quarter. And then the tide changed. I wonder how long it'll stick. You think it'll carry on to Charlotte? I hope. Nice little break. We're coming up to, the road trip, but more importantly, we're coming up to the trade deadline. And we heard yesterday from the Spurs, from all the sources around, what most San Antonio already knew, that not only was Jeremy Sohan in a position to get moved because of his expiring contract, but there's actually been word from on high with the Spurs is tell Jeremy's agent, go shop for a deal, and we will do our best to match or get you where you want to be. And the list of suitors is actually pretty good. What the Spurs need and what they can get for Sohan, I don't think there's an immediate fix for just him. But there are some others floating around. But we do get the sense, or at least I do, that, if you've been a Spurs fan long enough, every time, every season, right about now, there's a lot of talk about moves. The Spurs just don't. They just don't do stuff like this. De'Aaron Fox on the side. But for the most part, the Spurs don't make in-season deals, especially when the soup isn't done. The ingredients on this team are still mixing. So, we talked about the possibility of this and the possibility of the freak, and we got all these draft picks and 2 young guards, and we could package this for that. I just never really thought in my heart of hearts that it was going to happen. But when you hear the Spurs tell a player, go shop, it tells me at least one meal is going to be given. We're going to have one deal made. And I just wonder how far you go after that, because that first deal is like your first beer. The second one gets a whole lot easier. So I wonder if it'll kind of loosen the cap. And speaking of loosen the cap, you're starting to get the sense that out of Milwaukee, the rest of the league is starting to lean into how are we going to get Giannis, and offers are actually hitting the table. That'll be part of the discussion as we come back looking at the Spurs' big win. The trade deadline is coming. Jeremy Sohan on the block, or at least pushing his shopping cart in the grocery store, seeing if he can find a place. We'll figure who might be the actual suitors. We'll talk about that. Giannis moving, LeBron crying in Cleveland, and the rest of the NBA. Oh, and don't forget, there is the whole NFL and Belichick stuff coming around the bend, too. We want you to stay here for the goodness of your soul. We'll be right back. It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Looks like we just cleared that trouble spot on 281. Southbound approaching 1604. It was an accident. Now clear. Now, this road work at 35 southbound O'Connor to Weidner, that's still our heaviest delay this early morning, and that's due to road work. Alternating lanes closed along the way. It's causing about a 25-minute delay. Stop and go from Olympia Parkway. A stall at 410 eastbound Fredericksburg Road off to the shoulder. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Garrett with Arasti. If you're tired of pain slowing you down from a recent injury or something that's been nagging you for years, we can help. At Arasti, we've earned the trust of over 8,000 physicians by delivering fast, lasting pain relief without painkillers or surgery. Our hands-on approach targets the root cause of pain, and most patients see results in just one visit. No referral needed, and it's covered by most insurance plans. So don't wait. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti. We fix pain fast.
Hey, it's Flo here to say drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Nice. With my new savings, I'll get some hiking gear. It'll be great for my outdoor era.
I don't know if it counts as an era if you just buy stuff.
I got a cute hiking backpack. It's an outdoor era.
Well, you only bought one thing. I don't think it's an era.
Well, I think we're in a agree to disagree era.
Yeah, sure, you're probably right. Anyway, with the money you could save by switching to Progressive, you can afford to switch to other things in life. It's
my savings era.
Also, everything you do is not an era.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
Oh, yes, playoff football is here, baby, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all that action. Playing on Underdog is so easy. You pick your favorite players. Are they going to go higher or lower on their stats? Sounds simple, right? Touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, passing yards, you name it. Is your favorite guy going to have more or less of those stats? And if you get it right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. How incredible is that? You know, everybody's playing at their peak right now during playoff season. Who do we trust? How about the guys who have been in the playoffs before? That's who I'm looking at consistently, guys with that experience to go higher on their stats. Download the app today. Use my promo code ALAMO. You get $75 in bonus entries with your first $5. That's promo code ALAMO. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Texas. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, a UTSA Roadrunner is playing in the Super Bowl.
Reek Woolen will join us on The Blitz around 2:05, right as we get the show started.
What in the world was he saying to the L.A. Rams the other day on the sideline?
Plus the Spurs and Rockets, all the reaction from last night in H-Town.
The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. The NFL lives right here. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey-o! It's the huddle.
You're going to be saying this all Mardi Gras.
Oh, it's coming. Laissez bon temps rouler. Yeah, I'm jetting away to the Crescent City. I was going to say a derogatory term, but I won't.
Oh, yeah. No, okay.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting weekend. I'm going to get some beads one way or another. Spurs, let's continue talking what was a spectacular win. 111-99, the final. Spurs sit comfortably in second place in the West. They're 5.5 games back, 6-4 in their last 10, 15-9 on the road. Wow. 16-6 at home. Ain't nobody going to catch the Thunder. I don't pretend to think that's an opportunity. And, it's really a crazy scenario of where we were about 9:30 last night. They went to a couple of breaks. It was kind of nice to see the Chuck and the boys back on TV after they've been, I guess, hibernating like a bear. I hadn't seen them all season. The TNT boys have been put on ice. Hopefully we'll get them a lot more. And the narrative very quickly in that game, especially after the first quarter, it came directly from Barkley. Hey, man, this Spurs team's a lot of fun, but they're a long way away. Hey, this Spurs team, man, that Dylan Harper, he's going to look good in the Rising Star Challenge. And that Steph Castle, boy, he is tough. And Wemby, he is tall. Did I talk about how tall he is? Have we brought up the fact yet again how tall he is? This is a good, young team. And that narrative played out in the first quarter. Spurs put themselves in a hole. I think we have a new running rule with the Houston Rockets is the first team to get a 16-point lead loses. Happened to us last game, happened to them last night. Spurs fall down to 16. The turning point was a Wemby embarrassment, was a Wemby being the defensive paper bag against a physical center. And Sengun for the first quarter, absolutely devastated, dismantled, took apart, embarrassed. Shaq was calling him French pastry and French toast. And he was. It was embarrassing. It was not the kind of game that you use for your highlight reel. And then Wemby got embarrassed. He got embarrassed. He ended up on the ground. He had Sengun standing over him flexing. Gave up 2 free throws. And from that moment on, Wemby went from running at about an 8, 7.5, to a full tilt 10, 11 sometimes, diving for loose balls, breaking away deep, leading fast breaks, missing more threes, but changing the momentum of the game. And those holy crap moments that he offers mean so much to the Spurs because it gives them that millisecond more to get back on defense. That millisecond more as everybody stops to watch this phenomenon that is the alien who came from 12 feet away to block a shot everybody stops for that second in time to go, holy crap, did you see that? And when that happens, the Spurs are conditioned enough to go. Don't watch. Go. It's going to be your ball. Go. Fast break's imminent. He changes the game, but he did it for consistent 3 quarters, 29 minutes last night. Post-game, let's play some sound, Vic. Post-game, Wemby was asked, let's get to Wemby 1. Wemby was asked, weathering the storm, what do you think about you finally did something we've been begging you to do?
Never really felt like it was a disaster, during the game, even when we were down double digits. It felt like 16, there's double digits, right? So it felt like, we were patient. We didn't try to rush and we didn't overreact because we do need to react, which we did, but often we overreact.
Obviously, they didn't overreact. You reacted, brother. When you're behind the scenes, you got coaches and assistants that are putting together film packages specifically for you. Both your good and your bad. It'll involve, who you played against, what your matchups look like, what they did to you that have been exposed. It's those little things that you look at on the plane, on your iPad. When they put that package together for him overnight, when those college interns spent all night cutting up tape, when he gets his package today, they're going to show him that. They're going to show him getting bodied a couple of times. And then I'm going to show him all the good stuff he did. Because not only did he play well, we've got some good sound. So what I want to do is, we're running out of time. So not only did he play well, but Mitch Johnson had his best coaching game this year. When he absolutely had to be the guy on time, on target. Now, the Jimmies and Joes had to come through, but his X's and O's worked. And it was one unique switch that maintained the momentum that had been built in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter, Mitch made an adjustment that worked. We're going to talk about that. But as we go to break, I do want you to hear from Mitch and him talking about how much he loved the competitive last night. Mitch won.
I thought Victor's, as well as his teammates' competitive response as the game went on got much better. It felt like we were a little frantic, rushed, in a hurry. Sorry for the lack of vocabulary, but freaking out early on. We were down 8, I think, at half or something like that. And at times in the game, it felt like we were down 25, just the way we were acting. And it wasn't necessarily the self-pity or down in our, body language. It was just, we just hadn't settled into the game. And I thought he did a great job with that as well as his teammates. And then we just started executing on both ends and put some physicality into it, obviously. And you have to match that team's physicality or they will steamroll you.
Mitch Johnson post-game talking about the team's competitive response. And I'll tell you what, it did feel like they were down 25 points. And the Spurs were freaking out. Hey, don't freak out. We got our own stuff to take care of. Listen to these fine sponsors. They help pay my salary. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Spurs down the road. But let's look at the NBA and NFL. The fallout from Belly going nowhere. And the coaching carousel continues to turn. NFL talk coming. Bide your time, brothers. We'll be right back. It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Big Game Giveaway. Predict the exact score of the big game in Santa Clara, California, and you could score $50,000. Make your predictions now at sasportstar.com. The 50K Big Game Giveaway. Brought to you by Dietz Tractor. Score big with Dietz Tractor in Seguin and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinagle here for the Golf Club of Texas. I absolutely love the Golf Club of Texas. They've made so many improvements to the golf course, from brand new cart paths to resodding the greens and fairways. You might think it's a private club, but it's not. It's open to the public 7 days a week. Best rates are always online at golfclubtexas.com. That's golfclubtexas.com. The Golf Club of Texas, you know where it is, right there off Briggs Ranch Road off Highway 90. The Golf Club of Texas is the friendliest golf course in Texas.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your knowledge to work on the events that matter to you. Prediction Markets isn't just sports. It's the Fed rate decision, your favorite award show, and so much more beyond the playing field. Trade events with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
As veterans, we've lived through ups and downs. For many of us, alcohol's been there for both. Over time, we realized that a bottle of beer isn't a bottle of beer, and 2 fingers of whiskey are more than just the liquid. What we're really consuming when we drink is time. Sometimes it's a good time. Time with new friends in a bar, old friends over cards, or just a moment to unwind at the end of a long day. Sometimes it's wasted time. Time that could be better spent focusing on things we never finished and reconnecting with those we lost touch with or pushed away. But sometimes that drink is time that gets out of hand. It's time spent apologizing. And sometimes it's time with a heavy cost. If you feel your alcohol consumption has become unmanageable, VA has treatments to help you manage. Visit va.gov/recovery.
Logan Fury did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he bought a mini treadmill. Is walking on it during video conference calls more distracting than he thought? Yes. And is that because he overestimated his foot-eye coordination? Definitely. But it's Logan's savings, and if he wants to burn calories and any chance at a promotion, we say, good for you, Logan. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You know the Roo Pub is proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle. Bit smaller today, just Vic and I. I'm Rob. Vic, say hello.
Hola.
There he is.
I'm right here.
Bruno
Sorry,
Mars.
I have the fan on. That's the noise.
Oh, yeah. That's Bruno's on the ones and twos.
Yeah.
Don't mean to brag, but next Friday night I'll be at the EA Sports Party. And Teddy Swims will be singing.
I have a freestyle remix of one of his songs. I think it's called The Door.
You know, the first time I saw Teddy Swims, he's not what I thought he was.
Oh, Right? He didn't sound like the way he looked
No,
at all.
no.
He didn't sound like that at all.
He does not sound Anglo at all. Just saying. Dude's got some groove. Anyway, Teddy swims. I'm cool like that. That's how I roll. That's what my typical Friday nights are like. The fallout from the Belichick snubbing is ongoing and quite ugly. You know, there's a lot of parts to this moving piece. I don't think start that over. There's a lot of pieces and parts to this moving kind of puzzle because I think we've highlighted a problem that baseball's faced for years, but they're older than NFL. You know, those guys have a little bit deeper roots and they view things in a slightly longer term way because they're older. They're maintaining this continuum that is baseball. And, you know, cheating from Shoeless Joe to Pete carried on to Roger Clemens and the like. That is a hard and fast rule, and it ain't changing. Cheaters are treated as such in baseball. Now, we'll see what happens with the Astros. That's going to be a sidebar to this. I don't think it's going to affect them as much. There are lots of investigations, lots of finger pointing, but at the end of the day, not a whole lot of payment made. And sometimes, like we were talking about with Belichick, if you don't pay the piper at first, karma's a bitch. And Belly's kind of facing that. So we know what's going on with baseball, and you kind of expect those old-timey writers for the Hall of Fame to do something to just kind of make sure that justice is meted if it wasn't before, it is now. You can die without coming in, Pete. Well, you know, the fix, and this is what we talked about yesterday. It seems like everybody's, you know, the first and foremost best way to fix is you need to vote not only your conscience, but you got to vote your public too. This is an informed democracy, a representative democracy. We assume that the writers, though we didn't elect them, are voting in the fans' best interest. Now, they mediate that with their long-term perspective, but the idea that a writer for the obscure New England newspaper that either did or didn't like Belichick and held it personally and took it out on him affects the fans sitting someplace else is crazy. And I think that the fix would be, we want to know how you vote. I get it. I don't think we can out them now, though. Everybody who made these votes did it under the premise that nobody's going to know how I voted. Now, some Hall of Fame coaches were sounding off yesterday on McAfee. Jimmy Johnson, we're going to play some sound here, Big, was on McAfee talking about Belichick not getting in. And I think Jimmy put it right on the head. He can speak to the truth that he knows.
First of all, I think this tarnishes everything in the Hall of Fame. All of the inductees, everybody in the Hall of Fame, just because of 10 or 11 or 12 ignorant, jealous holes who did not vote for him. I think it tarnishes everything about the Hall of Fame.
I think he hit it right on the head.
That's right.
You know, Jimmy has some unique perspective because for him, the easy part was getting into the Hall of Fame. The hard part was the Ring of Honor. The hard part was his hometown. It was the Hall of Fame. Oh, that was easy.
That Jerry beef.
But he's right. I mean, the moment that you say or do something that completely discredits you as an individual or an entity, it's over. And it doesn't take much for me to go, well, whatever you guys are doing doesn't represent what I believe it to be. And for you to tell me that this is a shrine to uphold the greatest of the great, and the greatest of the great doesn't get in on his first try, you immediately lose credibility. From here on out, anybody else, you go, well, I imagine he's just better than the guy who has 8 Super Bowl rings and all the things and the decades of dominance and everything else that Belichick did. I guess, well, what do you have to do? J.J. Watt, the player who, gold jacket, of course, was on McAfee. He, too, is concerned and upset.
There are literally like 2-3 people in history that are absolute no-brainer locks whatsoever, Bill and Tom being 2 of those. And I saw something where one of the voters was like, why should the votes be released? What are you going to do? Because you shouldn't have a vote. If you have Bill Belichick not making the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you should not have a vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy has 8 Super Bowl titles. There's only been 59 of them. He's got 8 rings from 59. Like, what are you doing? What qualifications do you want? How do you tell the story of the NFL without Bill Belichick? Yeah, if you didn't have him on your ballot, and I get this whole like, well, there was 3 spots and you can only put like, I don't care. If there's only 3 spots, Bill Belichick is spot number 1, point blank, period. You figure out who fits in the other 2. No other matter should happen. He is in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, no matter what. The guy beat me left, right, and center multiple times. I should have every reason to hate him. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer without question. This is stupid.
It is stupid. And what again? I keep falling back on the Fifth Avenue NFL brass, sitting back with the Super Bowl just around the corner, and all we can talk about is this ridiculous event. So, as much as this is pointed out, the obvious inadequacies of this polling method, the way that they're doing stuff. But it's just this little hiccup right before the Super Bowl that is just silly. When you've got the legendary, the NFL dude, J.J. Watt, the poster boy, he's grinding. I wonder if he had a shirt on when he did the interview. For the nice guy to come out and go, this is just dumb. It is. It is absolutely ridiculous that they got here. And I don't think that the NFL can just let this, well, this is an interesting part of the way we've set this up. What is not going to be. They're going to change this. And I get the sense that we're going to dox those riders. Those, if there is still a current, still a tally, and we can put names to votes, whoever didn't vote for Belichick, it's like a career limiting move. The abuse that will come to who didn't will be outrageous, man.
I blame the tariffs.
Well, I blame tariffs, but consider that you're a rider of esteem. You're a rider that holds some weight, that when you speak, not only do the general public listen, but those that are in the business listen too. There's those, and I bet there's 1 or 2 of them that didn't. And, I can get there, like with every situation, there are reasons things happen and there's excuses. And you have to decide, was this a reason or an excuse? And I do think that at least 1 or 2 of these 10 or 11 did vote for 3 other than Belichick under the expectation that everybody else wasn't going to be as harebrained as they were. That at least I can ensure that this other guy gets a chance because I'm leaving Belichick off my ballot. But who the hell else would leave Belichick off? That's stupid. And then 2 or 3 of those guys did it, and it added up. And I can't imagine the surprise when it popped on Monday. That could have been my fault. It's like you lose an election, and out of the goodness of your heart, when you went and voted, you voted for the other guy. So here we sit. We've got some riders in the NFL Hall of Fame type stuff that are hoping they get to keep their ice masks on. They're hoping that they get to just disappear, go back to some other place, and nobody pulls that mask down. Because the term dox and humiliation are to follow. And I'm not sure whether it's absolutely justified, but when the pendulum swings this far and it gets this weird, somebody's going to have to pay. The NFL ain't going to take the brunt of this. We look stupid because you did something stupider. I mean, we're the ones that have egg on our face. You get to go hide with your ice mask. You get to put the face mask on and pull your baseball cap home on your head and duck into the crowd like, wasn't me. Well, but I will give him the benefit of, I made that vote with the expectation nobody would know.
And the Brigade Bar said, is it a baseball private or does that public?
Well,
Like for Baseball Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. I assume that it's private.
You would think all of them are, but
because there's some, just like a private ballot. It's not any of your business, but this isn't a government thing. This is a party.
right.
I just think that given the situation here, if it continues to boil up, if we continue to see legends of the game step in and go, this is, what you guys have effectively done is lessened the value of something that I earned. You're like the guy that bought the house down the block that doesn't mow his lawn. Yeah, you're in the Hall of Fame, but you lessened the value. You're taking away from me. Fix this. He's got to come in. It raises my home's value. When he comes in, I look better. Right now, this looks like a joke. We'll see. Spurs win. We're leading off with that coming around a bend. Hold on. It's just a few minutes away.
You're locked on the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. KTFM Floresville.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
Rollins, were you at the fight?
To tell you the absolute truth, no one called me.
Were you just sitting there on your couch?
Technically, I was laying in bed with my supermodel wife in a mattress full of money. And
was she nude or was she clothed?
She was nude.
She was nude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You should have seen it. You guys should have been there.
The John Clay Wolf Show.
Listen to the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturday morning at 8 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Big tax changes this year could mean a bigger refund, and Jackson Hewitt knows how to get you your biggest. You'll get $100 just to try us. That won't make you filthy rich, but definitely gas plus groceries rich. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back, which would make you low-key loaded. Or at least wealthy adjacent? Go with our trusted pros and get $100 to switch. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3 grand.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit of federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-269-3394. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. So these delays on 35 on the northeast side due to road work are growing. Southbound 35 O'Connor to Weidner, now about 45 minutes. Roadway reduced to one lane. Those delays start at Schertz Parkway. So going to suggest Nacogdoches as a good alternate route. Again, that's 35 southbound O'Connor to Weidner, rolling very slowly due to road work. Roadway reduced to one lane. Also rolling a bit slowly on 90 eastbound 211 to 410 and getting reports of a stall downtown 37 northbound just before 35. Looks like they moved it off to the shoulder. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
San Antonio Sports Center.
In the NBA, the Spurs had a big old flex night with a 111-99 win over the Houston Rockets. Wemby was impressive, 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 blocks in the win. Spurs head to Charlotte for a 2 o'clock tip on Saturday. In other Spurs news, forward Jeremy Sohan has been given permission to find a trade partner. The Bulls, Hornets, Knicks, Lakers, and Suns are among the teams who do have interest in him. Speaking of trades, the Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is ready to move on as the Milwaukee Bucks have begun listening to aggressive offers, according to ESPN's Sham Charania. The Knicks, Heat, T-Wolves, and Warriors are said to be those in the mix. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Here we go. Huddle up. That's something to talk about. I'm Rob Thompson, sitting alone on one side of the double pane glass. On that other side, wearing the headphones, that's Big Brown.
Hello, good morning.
We got 3 more hours of fun headed your direction. It's going to be a yawning type of morning for a lot of San Antonians. Up late, watching an impressive Spurs win. I think a lot of us were kind of hoping for, if those that were chasing sleep anyway, wanted to have a pretty good idea how this game was going to go by the end of the third. And the Spurs, for a lot of games, have pretty much told us in the third quarter whether it's worth staying or not. And for the most part, it's been no. They're going to collapse, so let's go on and go to bed. But last night, they kept us entertained and enthused all the way through, ended up pulling away for a 12-point win, 111-99. Wemby was spectacular. Wemby provided highlight moments, a couple of pretty impressive dunks. His response to being physically dominated early in the game was impressive because he did it the Wemby way. I'm still not happy with the entirety of the Wemby way, but last night was effective. Still 0 for 3 from the three-point line. I know you have to do it sometimes, but once or twice, one of them felt absolutely forced. But to me, while Wemby was awoken by an embarrassment, I mean, he got embarrassed and really started to attack. The others were more spectacular, specifically Steph Castle and Dylan Harper. You know, the run that the Spurs used to take away that 16-point lead was done for the most part with Wemby sitting on the bench. Dylan Harper had 6 straight points in that run there in the third, 3 consecutive layups, 4 consecutive shots. He took a 3 to see how hot he was because he had made 3 straight layups. He'd earned that 4th heat check, missed it. But that 6-point run with him getting to the paint signified and was it was a capsule of the Spurs game. Because while the Spurs got kind of punched in the mouth to start the game, the physicality that they brought in the second quarter on through the rest of the game was impressive, and it was from the guards. Mitch Johnson probably had his best coaching night, and the Spurs probably had their best win of the year. And no coincidence that both happened. But there was a point where after Wemby had just gotten worn out in guarding Sengun that Mitch made a switch and took him off and put him on the worst shooter on the court, Amin Thompson, and moved over a couple of dudes, primarily when Castle was in there. Castle, in the fourth quarter, our 6'6" small forward guard was tasked with guarding Sengun, was tasked on keeping him out of the paint, keeping him the dribbles, making him kick it. And guess what? It worked. Now, Sengun ended up leading the Rockets in assists, but you know why? Because he couldn't get where he wanted to go. Now, he's a great player. He made up for it in other ways. But what Staff Castle did was take him off the offensive scoring stat line. Now, he got the assists. 8 assists is impressive for a guy that had that stuff taken away. But I'll tell you, it was taken away by a dude much shorter than him. That was a brilliant move from Mitch. That number one. The physicality that Steph brought and Dylan brought in attacking and bringing the game to the rim mattered. Because they had gravity. They were sucking dudes into the paint, sucking them down in there, and it made it easier to get longer rebounds. It opened up fast breaks. And when he made that switch and he put Wemby on Thompson, what it allowed Wemby to become was a shark, a patrolling great white shark that you didn't know where he was because he was under the water. But if you're going to take a shot, you better look around. You better look behind yourself because he was coming. 5 blocks. All coming from nowhere. And when you come from nowhere, that alters your shot whether he's in the room or not. So it was a ridiculously solid, hard-fought game from the Spurs, but it was helped along from Mitch because his coaching switch there in the second half was pretty spectacular, and I think he deserves the credit because he was on a line that he was about to cross. We have not ever really been upset with Mitch. We've given him the benefit of the doubt. He wasn't even an official head coach till the beginning of this year. So in that world, he's still in his honeymoon. And he's just been doing this over a year. So we allowed some of the maturation process, and we all had our particular problems with some part of his game, whether it be weird substitutions, whether it be not playing dudes when we thought they would. Just a lot of things that kind of, new coaches kind of grow into. Last night was spectacular, and if it hadn't happened, I get the sense that there were going to be a few of us out here that are going to start to question the long-term stability at the top because the guys started so fast this year, and then we have hit – this is a rough spot. This is the roughest part of the year so far. Even though the Spurs have been 6-4 in their last 10, those 4 losses were pretty embarrassing. They were lost in ways that you don't walk away feeling good about yourself. You give up leads, and you do dumb stuff, and you miss your free throws. And granted, there have been guys in and out. This lineup has not been set all year long. But this was and continues to be. You're going to have to win a couple. You're going to have to stack some wins. To be the toughest part of the year. It was addressed pregame. The Nationals, the TNT types were talking about, hey, Mitch was saying this has been tough. That same vigor that they had earlier, they're kind of on their heels. They're reacting instead of acting. All those little things that we've been talking about have certainly been magnified behind the scenes with coaching and with the coaches. And it was evident that the plan was in place to go get this one on the road. Now, it helps to have a Houston Rocket team that is deeply flawed. They are without a captain of the boat. They don't have a point guard. And Reed Shepherd, while he can get on a roll, is a victim, a professional defensive victim. So they can't have him out very long. So you're stuck running the law firm around there, Dorian Finney-Smith and some other dudes. The Rockets were exposed for their problem last night. It's an interesting matchup because the Spurs, when we look at Oklahoma City, especially when Hartenstein is playing and his lack of offense, allow the Spurs to do some things against Oklahoma City that nobody else can do in the NBA. So the Spurs match up really well against the Rockets, and we perceive that they quite frankly don't against the Rockets just because the Rockets are huge. Now, we can line up Wemby and Will and Cornette and look moderately big by most standards, but when you're dealing with four guys that are 6'11" or better on a Rockets roster, that two of them are in the game most of the time, they're huge. That's a big basketball team. So what they have on the front line that we have trouble matching with, we own the backcourt when played correctly. The Spurs' top three dominated the pace of the game last night. Wemby physically did crazy stuff, and Dylan Harper, the three layups at the rim, again, signified lack of point guard protection. But it was our three guards beat their three guards easily for three quarters. Now, the front line did their job for Houston, but they wore down by the end of the game. It took that kind of storm. An absolutely spectacular win coming from Coach Mitch. And I want to close out with some sound on this one. Let me pull up my shot. You ready for some sound there? Let's play what Mitch had to say about Steph Castle's defense.
I thought this was, I think he's had more than a few, but this was his first all NBA defense type performance he's had in a minute. And it was good to see, because that's got to be his calling card, and that is his calling card. And just to see him do that against a team like this and the matchups that he had was well received, and we need it all the time.
That's Mitch talking about Steph Castle and in his words, all defensive team NBA kind of defense. And when he chested up, bodied up with Alfred Sengun for at least 8 minutes last night, and Sengun was worse for wear. It's a lot like when we see Julius Randle get underneath Wemby, just get into his chest and not allow him to do anything. Steph battled last night, physically battled, and it's good to be built like an outside linebacker. It's good to be built like a rush end like Steph is, because he's got the body to do it. He played the defense that kept things steady. Dylan Harper was a different kind of difference maker. His uptick was obvious. His offense was impressive, and Mitch noticed.
I thought he's been trending for the last few games. Obviously, the box score jumped out and when he went on a run, but I think he's done a great job of playing the right way, playing with pace, and being aggressive, but also keeping the game simple. And it's amazing with some of the guys on our team, they do that, and their talent jumps off the page, and it looks amazing.
You know, every rookie goes through the rookie wall, the rookie time. And Dylan right now has played more basketball games this year than he has in his entire life. And when you think about, he was in college up until the tournament. As soon as the tournament was done, he was in training. As soon as the training was complete, he's playing summer league. He has played nonstop basketball for well over a year now, and most rookies hit a wall. And I think he went through 2 weeks of exhaustion. And hopefully last night kind of woke him up, kind of got that second breath that you hope rookies get. Some never recover. But it looks like, at least last night, and according to Mitch, the numbers are trending up where he's making hay where he can. And he's turning in to one of the top three guards in the paint in the NBA. His ability to score at the rim at every angle is ridiculous. It's God-given. He is ahead of his time on what he's able to do around the rim. And it's against size, it's against width, it's against speed. He can get to the rim and get the ball on the glass as good as any guard in the NBA. He's just got to have the wherewithal to get to the rim. And he did last night. Absolutely impressive. We're going to wind down the segment with one more bit of sound. You know, the book over the last couple of days, everybody's been talking about aggressiveness. The Spurs have been out-aggressive and out-bodied. And last night, Wemby looked like he had taken the last shot. He's laying on his back. Sengun is standing over him, flexing and getting ready to take 2 free throws after he battered him down into the paint for 8 dribbles or whatever it was. And then Wemby woke up. Wemby was asked, "Hey, do you like these guys? Is this turning into one of the kind of rivalry that we think it deserves?" This is what he had to say.
I mean, I think the Rockets in the league, I think it's a compliment, but people don't like playing against them. You know, it's just the brand of basketball they play. So it's like, yeah, I think teams in general don't like playing against them, and we're not an exception.
We're not an exception. Hey, the Rockets play goonball. As much as any team in the NBA, they're a rough and tumble team. They look and play just like their coach. Ime Udoka is there to make those guys rough and tumble, and they dished it out for about 14 minutes last night. And for the rest of the night, Mitch and the Spurs counterpunched all the way back to the best win of the season. They're packing up their bags and heading to Charlotte. Got a 2 o'clock game on Saturday. Hopefully they'll carry that little streak onto the East Coast. Coming around the bend, let's continue talking NBA, but on the grand scheme, it appears Jeremy Sohan is free to seek other offers. Let's see where he might land and where the trade market sits today. Just a little over a week away from the deadline. NBA talk coming. Hang on. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. How did you wake up this morning? I hope you didn't wake up in pain, something that literally is keeping you out of your daily routine. Because in this day and age, there's a fix. What are you waiting on? Call my good friends over to Rosti. Rosti providers are all around San Antonio. New ones opening all the time because what they do works. Now, to be an Rosti provider, this is a certification above and beyond being a medical professional. If you're an Rosti provider, you are already a chiropractor, a physical therapist, a general practitioner, somewhere in the medical field, and you upgraded your skill set. That's why it works so well, because they do things a little bit differently. When you walk into an Rosti provider, you get a full evaluation. They're going to find out why you're hurting, and they're going to find out the source, and they're going to fix it. Their manipulative approach, their hands-on approach works, and it has worked for me for years. Lower back pain, oh my goodness, they fixed me. Rolled ankle, sprain, or soft tissue injury, it works. Plantar fasciitis, maybe you're dealing with those stress headaches that start in the middle of your back and punch you in the nose. All of that can be helped and helped fast by Rosti. What do you need to know? Well, first of all, no referral required. You can make the call. Call them now, 1-800-404-6050. You can do the same thing at their website at Rosti.com. You can see a map of all the local providers. One opening all the time. But there's one less than 10 minutes from where you are right now, I promise. Listen, don't let pain keep you from doing things that you love. Call a Rosti today. Let them take care of you. And when they do, come on by and thank me later.
It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Big Game Giveaway. Predict the exact score of the big game in Santa Clara, California, and you could score $50,000. Make your predictions now at sasportstar.com. The 50K Big Game Giveaway, brought to you by Dietz Tractor. Score big with Dietz Tractor in Seguin and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Score big with LS Tractors at Dietz Tractor in Seguin, the MVPs of the field. LS Tractors, the star quarterbacks of farming, perfect for tough tasks for farm, ranch, and landscaping. Dietz Tractors has your all-star coaching staff for top-notch equipment. They're not just selling tractors, they're building lasting relationships with unmatched dealer support for parts and maintenance. It's a winning strategy that goes beyond the final whistle. Don't miss the game-winning move. 0% financing available with approved credit on LS Tractors. Start blue, stay blue at Dietz Tractor in Seguin.
Hey, the big game's almost here, if you know what I mean. And if your dog goes wild every time the doorbell rings, it's time for a new game plan. Whether you scored a brand new puppy over the holidays or your current MVP needs better discipline, Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit's ready to help coach him up. Sign your dog up for professional training sessions focused on winning behavior. From boarding and daycare to expert training, Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit is here for you. Call them today at 210-750-1298. That's 210-750-1298 today.
Every child is on a journey, a path from the earliest days of wonder and discovery through all the years of learning and growing to become the person they were meant to be. At Children International, we're empowering children and youth to forge a path out of poverty. Walking alongside on their journey, we equip them with education, skills, and resources to succeed in every milestone of growth. From early childhood to starting school, through healthcare access and learning to read, to life skills, job skills, and leadership training, and into employment. This is how we build confidence and instill a positive mindset so they can achieve bright futures for themselves, their families, and communities. Learn how you can join the journey and help end poverty for good at children.org today.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're locked on the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
It's showtime!
It's the Morning Huddle here on San Antonio Sports Star. Teddy swims.
Yeah.
He don't look like he sounds.
No, he doesn't.
No, he does not.
He's got an incredible voice.
He does. I'm going to see him live next Friday because that's how I roll. Yep, heading out today, heading to San Francisco for the big game. And our coverage all week long is going to be brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. We'll be live from Radio Row, insider interviews. The list is stacking. The stars are coming, and we're going to bring them directly to you. All the breaking stories, the pregame excitement, all the way up to the big game. We'll have it for you right here all day long. Our AA Best Bail Bonds radio coverage is also brought to you by Smoky Moe's Barbecue, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Your front seat to backstage action live from the Bay Area. Santa Clara, where the game will be. We'll be in the Moscone Center starting 4 a.m. San Francisco time. God, that's brutal. 4 a.m.
Well, your body clock will be good, right?
Yeah, the body clock's the same. The worst of all the ones I've been to, the Super Bowls I've been to, and this is my clock. I'm used to all that.
Right.
The worst was the one in Vegas 2 years ago, because literally the night was just picking up as I was going to work. I mean, it was halftime for a lot of people. The bars, the 2 a.m. bars were spilling out, and the 4 a.m. bars were picking up. And I was right in the middle of it. That sucks.
No.
But yeah, everything that we can possibly bring you, we will. I wonder if by the time I return back to our fair city next week, if Jeremy Sohan will still be a Spur. It's rare for the Spurs to do what they did yesterday. Jeremy Sohan was given permission by the brass to go find a deal, go get something. because you're not going to stay here. And the Spurs have to do this, because if they don't make this any kind of deal, and I'm talking about any kind of deal, he just walks away in the summer, and the Spurs get nothing. So at least as they're shopping him, and I do think he has value above and beyond a bench guy that's there to practice. I mean, there is a skill set that the Spurs drafted that, quite frankly, they tried to change that limited his ability to help the Spurs. Because when he was drafted, the team was one thing, and 2 years later, the team was entirely different. When he was drafted, he was a multi-skilled raw piece of clay that we assumed under the guidance of our shooting coach, Chip, who had success in the past, made Kawhi, that we could turn him into a shooter, at least to be a bit of a threat. And we knew that his versatility and size would allow him to play maybe 3 positions on the front line, and his ability to ball handle might allow him to spend some time with the ball in his hand. And what happened afterwards when Pop decided, let's try something in the absence of, remember, Wemby wasn't here. Let's look at Sohan running the point. And he spent a summer and most of a year trying to become something that he had never been, and it stunted his growth. We lost the trajectory of what we thought Jeremy was drafted for. He ended up not being deployed that way, and it just knocked things off center. And I do think that there's enough NBA teams around the league that do see a value. Like last night, if he wasn't on the trade block and he wasn't dinged up, boy, the Spurs could have used him. Boy, they could have used a big body to go lean on Sengun and hit those front line dudes. Boy, they could have used him, but he wasn't in uniform. And we also saw the effects of having a guy like Sohan and Amir Thompson, who is basically Sohan times 1.5. One of the best defenders in the league. He can't even see the rim. His fingers don't work. He can't shoot to save his life. He's afraid to shoot. But good teams normally can't afford guys like Thompson and Sohan. But great teams always seem to have them. I don't know how that works. So I hate the fact that we have come to this, that we're probably going to have to say goodbye to Jeremy, because, quite frankly, the calculus has changed for what this roster is going to look like and what he offers the game. So as I assume that over the next week a deal will be had, because with every passing minute, the deals get worse. Because all the rest of the NBA knows the same thing that we know. If I don't get him now, I can wait till free agency and go get him on my dime and not have to give up anything. So with every passing minute, those teams that aspire to either take on his expiring contract and cut him too, to make some room for their own salary cap issues, or for those really, really good teams, those surprising teams like Phoenix, and I say really good, teams that he can arrive and help. He could help the Knicks. He could help the Phoenix Suns. I mean, he can go help those good teams get to hold on to, great teams keep. Well, I think he would elevate either one of those teams. So I expect that the Spurs are going to do a rare thing, that they're actually going to make a midseason pieces and parts deal. That they're going to do it. It won't be like De'Aaron Fox, and it won't be like the 1 or 2 other midseason deals we have seen done in the past. This will be an edge rush, an edge deal that might bring a draft pick or 2, that might bring up a player or 2, and then you'll wonder what kind of player should they be shopping that would be a mid-level bench guy. And last night, what I saw, the glaring weakness that can be filled with a fair amount of bodies around this NBA is, while Steph Castle did yeoman's work defending Sengun, Spurs have got to get a big old mobile 4, a big old meat and potatoes. I'll defend you. I can move my feet 15 feet in either direction. Not a type like Cornette. Not a in the paint shot block and guard the center. I'm talking about a big, muscular power forward that brings defense first with attitude, that can allow Wemby to go do some Wemby things. And I know we're going to continue to say, Wemby, just do the big stuff, and we don't need to worry about the big dude. That's just not going to happen. We saw the best of Wemby last night, and it was a free-flowing, a couple of feet away from the basket, always looking at the basket on offense, never with his back. Unless, of course, he's catching an alley-oop for a wow play to the rim. The Spurs won with really well-executed defense and strategic substitutions and switches. That was a coaching win. You can't expect for Steph Castle to continue to guard 7-foot muscular centers for the rest of the year and that to be a successful formula. It works in spots, but it was so apparent last night that big old four, that big old dude that could run between those two bigs, defend a couple of different positions, was not there. And they had to overcome with execution, but we know that the best teams will beat you that way. So that was a glaring weakness, a glaring empty spot that I do think Sohan should have actually been filling already. You notice that I described a guy a lot like Sohan, but it's just not going to work out. So we know it could be a this for that, an apple for an orange that looks very much the same. But I get the sense what'll come back is something very small. I don't see a lot coming just because the value in Sohan is very specific to just a couple of teams. Either they get him to really further their progress or they're getting him to sink. They're getting him to head south and expedite some salary cap money as soon as the cap is available and cut him loose. So he's free to go search. I just don't know how much the Spurs can realistically expect to get back. But any little thing will help, and if you put some more of the draft stock in there, that helps for whatever deal might be coming. Now, there's still those out there yearning, wanting, hoping for a Giannis deal. I think those numbers have kind of decreased over this season. I know they certainly have in this studio. But it is getting close, and it is getting time. Because I think the rest of the NBA isn't really going to make a move until the Giannis thing is done. Because it's probably going to involve a couple of teams. It's going to probably involve at least 10 players or picks. So it's going to involve a lot of moving parts, and there's those teams that might have one or two offers or plans on the table. That Giannis thing is going to be front and center. And until that gets done, we're all going to just sit and be twiddling our fingers and watching little moves like Sohan and maybe Chris Paul finds a place to play. Those little things that are going to have to happen over the next couple of days. The big stuff, if there are more big things, won't happen until Giannis is moved. And it really feels like that is starting to pick up some steam as we get closer to the trade deadline. And, looking at the potentials, the possibles for him, it's a lot of dudes. It's a lot of different places that he could hit. So I honestly have no concept of who is willing to give up those 5 picks. Golden State, to me, seems front and center right now. If I'm Golden State and I'm trying to maintain anything, there's only one guy that's really safe on my roster, and that's Steph. Everybody else, including Kuminga and draft picks and Draymond, if we could part as friends, but, he gone. So I think if Golden State's looking to really kind of maintain, I saw Golden State mentioned more than once. If it was going to happen sooner, I would think it would going to be that. What do you guys think? 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Those numbers are always available to you. Who would you like to see pick up Giannis? Do the Spurs need to make a middle move, a big move? Is a shooter more important than a big? Some days I waver. But right now, on the heels of a victory where our weakest parts were exposed and we overcame, it showed me that I think we can come up with enough volume to maintain that top 10 and 3-point percent. They're a terrible volume, but I think we can continue to be an effective 3-point shooting team. But our rebounding woes need to be addressed. And it's not just X's and O's and scheme. We just need more athletic, bigger bigs to work those long rebounds that we just don't have. We're going to continue talking that. If you have something to say, sound off on the Brigade Bar. We're going to look down the bar when we come back, take your calls, and talk a little bit more of the NFL as Belichick sits on the outside and Stephen Jones speaks of the Cowboys. We're going to hear him next. This is 94.1, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, if you're sitting on a Thursday morning going, man, this weekend, it's kind of a dead weekend. There's no football on. A little bit of college basketball. Let's the friends and I, let's get a quick getaway. Let's go head out of town and have a little roadie. And the only thing holding you back is who's going to take care of your pet. I have your answer. It's Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit. It's not just the big game, but the weekend's coming and you want plans to happen and you don't know what to do with your dog. Put this number in your notes, 210-750-1298. That's Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit. Whether it's a daily take care, whether it's a quick weekend away, or it's a long vacation, you know that your dogs are going to be taken care of the way you would. And while they're there, they're going to get all that you'd expect, 17,000 square feet of play space. If you need a little bit of training, they certainly have that. You need them prettied up, their nails done and bathed, they do that too. What I love about Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit is they are close to the airport. They're easy to get to. They're open when I want them to. They're easily the best out there. Why don't you call them now and take care of your dogs the right way? Big game coming. You need to get rid of your dogs for the day? Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit. Call them today. Take your dogs where they want to go, and you can thank me later.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Your commute definitely starting to slow down. 35 southbound O'Connor to Weidner, still our heaviest delay. With road work, got the roadway reduced to one lane, 45-minute travel time, stop and go from Schertz Parkway. Nacogdoches still a good alternate route. 281 southbound at Isom, that stalls off to the shoulder. Another at 410 eastbound Cherry Ridge, and 37 northbound before 35, that stalls off to the left shoulder. Slowing down, 1604 westbound Pat Booker Road to Gold Canyon, and Highway 90 eastbound, also sluggish 211 to Loop 410. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Order Smoky Mo's Texas Barbecue for your big game watch party. For a limited time, the rib pack is available just for the big game with 3 pounds of mouth-watering ribs and home-style sides of your choice. Feed your crowd with game day favorites. For 26 years, Smoky Mo's has created craft-level barbecue with great neighborhood value. Smoky Mo's is great Texas barbecue served fast and friendly with 8 convenient locations in San Antonio. Stop by or order Smoky Mo's for pickup or delivery at SmokyMo'sBBQ.com.
The Gomez Law Firm is proud to be San Antonio's trusted personal injury law firm for the past 50 years. We have Jose with the Gomez Law Firm here with us. Your firm has been fighting for the people of San Antonio since 1973. That's incredible.
There are not a lot of businesses that stick around for even 50 years, let alone personal injury law firms.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then turn to the law firm that will fight for you. Visit joegomezlaw.com.
And remember, Gomez Law fights.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide.
based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the big game in Silicon Valley. And the only local station bringing you exclusive wall-to-wall coverage from the Bay Area. All brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. We're live from Radio Row with insider interviews, breaking stories, and all the pregame excitement leading up to the superb hour. From the biggest names in sports to behind-the-scenes access, we've got it all. Your AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage is brought to you in part by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. Your front row seat to the backstage action, live from the Bay Area, is 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hi, this is Joe Reinagle. You're listening to the home of the Texas Rangers, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying. Don't go nowhere. It's the Morning Huddle. I'm Rob, your friendly neighborhood radio host. No AJ today. He'll be back mañana. He'll sit over there, right there, depending on your perspective. And see, there's my finger. And I will not be here. I will be elsewhere. And then next week, I will also be elsewhere. AJ will be here holding down the fort. I will be gallivanting around San Francisco, finding points of interest and interesting tidbits to entertain and enthrall you for an entire week.
There you have it.
Wow, that sounded pretty good, right?
Yeah, that was good.
That's how I presented it to the suits. And then they just came in and handed me a bunch of bags I got to carry. That I'm going to have to zip tie together so I don't have to spend so much money just getting the stuff there. But I digress. Yesterday, I was, going through the socials as I'm apt to do. And I saw something that I hadn't thought about in a long time. Do you remember when you were a kid? This is back in the DVR, or the VCR days, the videotapes. Okay. I was probably, I would say, a sophomore in high school. So I would say this would be 1970, maybe 1980, 81, 82. Where if you had, everybody had that friend who.
I was 10.
Well, okay, about 10.
Okay.
And this lasted for a couple of years. In fact, for about a decade, and it spawned a bunch of sequel type of stuff. Okay. But back in the day, before social media, before anything that was available to you where you could go seek and find stuff, where you could go find the stuff that you always heard legend of, but you couldn't really dig it up because you had to know somebody.
Oh, yeah.
There was a film called Faces of Death.
Oh, yes. I saw 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the first Faces of Death came out, it wasn't like talked about in mixed company, in friendly company.
No, it was at Catholic school.
You whispered about it. Like, hey, man, I got my friend, his brother had a friend whose mom actually got the video. But you couldn't go rent it for a long time. For a while, it was truly
a day, right?
underground. You couldn't go to Pop and Go. You couldn't go to Blockbuster and get Faces of Death initially. Now, eventually you could because it spawned all these sequels that, got a little bit more and more invested. But the original one was kind of guerrilla. And the premise was that there was this dude named Dr. Gross who had done this fake study of how people had died and been killed around the world. And you'd watch it, and some of them were real, but most of them were made up. And you saw, there was one where a dude was eating monkey brains, where they cut the head off a monkey and was eating his brain while the monkey was live. Like, everybody was like, is that real? But it was so black market. It was so... oh, boy, how did we get a hold of this? And, you turned it on after you locked the door and turned the lights out because you didn't want anybody to know you got it because it felt illegal, like you were watching some kind of snuff film. Well, I saw that they're remaking Faces of Death. They're making it like a big time, like Sony Pictures is remaking Faces of Death. And the premise is going to be, and it makes some sense, that the same kind of thing is happening, but it's on the interwebs, on the dark web probably, which I still have yet to find, but it's out there. On the dark web, and somebody's trying to figure out whether these are AI murders because some group out there is mimicking all of the deaths from the original
Ooh, I want to see it.
Faces of Death. And it's the star is going to be, man, I can't remember her name. It's like Emily CQ or something like that. Does that name ring a bell? It's a name and a couple of letters that I think I've heard. She's a musician. She sings, but she's going to star in Faces of Death. Anybody else out there have an old cassette, have that hidden, labeled Family Ties?
Or Betamax.
On your Betamax?
I remember it was on South Flores. There was a small video store called Rainbow Video.
Uh-huh. Did they have a special section?
They had a small section, and I remember seeing Faces of Death, thinking it was a horror movie.
Oh.
And at the same time, my parents rented The Godfather, which were 2 VHS.
Yeah, that was the double tape.
Yeah, and Star Wars, which was always rented. So we settled for, I remember that, Faces of Death, and we were watching it, and we were going, this is not what we thought.
You know, you had guys getting hit by trains.
Yeah, it was.
Falling off buildings, getting eaten by animals.
But it was fun. My parents didn't say, oh, don't watch it, don't this. They were just like, well, I mean, we rented it.
Oh,
let's watch
for me, it was the thrill of doing something
Yeah.
absolutely illicit. Like, don't tell anybody. We got face. It was.
Oh, and I couldn't wait to tell the guys next day at school.
Yeah, well,
you know
what I saw last night. You know, there's people out there that eat monkey brains.
Yep.
I saw it. It was real. It was on a video. Well, they're redoing it. I wonder if it'd be worth the effort. Faces of Death. What other videos out there that were so illicit? I think that was just about it.
No, that was it.
It didn't feel real.
Parts. Yeah.
I mean, it felt like it was, this is a documentary that we shouldn't see, but the people in charge don't want us to know.
Well, there were no previews. There was nothing.
No, there wasn't any of that. It was
just by chance.
It's
like,
crazy that back then, by word of mouth,
that was how you knew. That was it.
Everybody knows. I promise you, if you're of an age, I said Faces of Death, and everybody went, "Oh yeah, monkey brains."
Yeah.
I hope we get to see that again. And the question, even for those back then, how'd they stage that? That had to be real, right?
I think so.
Had
I
to
don't know.
be
I never questioned it. I just thought it was real because it was in a VHS store.
Vic, go back and watch it again. It is so ham-handed, poorly made. I mean, back then we thought if it was a shaky camera, it looked like it was guerrilla. It had to be real. If it was not, if it wasn't perfect, it couldn't have been manufactured. But, this is 1979. The video cameras back then were the size of a suitcase propped on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't going to do a whole lot of guerrilla filming with that thing, hidden in the corner of some, I don't know, Mid-Eastern shack with somebody eating monkeys. You weren't just going to, it wasn't a hidden camera. Made up, but it looked real to me. I don't think we're quite as naive now as we used to be.
Now everything we think is AI at first.
Yeah, now I question everything. Back then, if it was anything other than my best friend telling me it was true. If I heard it on TV or saw it on a video, it was real. I'm also a firm believer that whatever Stephen Jones tells me is true, is real. You think he's a truthful guy? I do. I like Stephen Jones. Hey, 'tis the season, right? The Cowboys, it's so typical of Dallas to somehow manufacture a way to have an all-star game literally played on their practice field. So on Tuesday night, the Shrine game was played at the Star. Think of another NFL team that could have the nutsack to go to the league and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to host an all-star game, and guess what? We'll have it at our house. So we don't have to travel. They can all come and see the fabulous locale and everything we got here at the Cowboy training camp and the Star. And if you happen to be an undrafted free agent, look at what we got. Well, maybe if it comes down to it, you'll come play for us. But they did host the talent from around the country, and Stephen, of course, was thick of it. We had a couple of coaches that were involved. The Cowboys staff is coming into play. We've lost a defensive dude that's going to head up and coach for McCarthy, and another one, an offensive line guy, looks like he might be leaving. Stephen was asked yesterday about finalizing the staff and especially the effect of the new defensive coordinator and what he expects. So let's start at the beginning. This is Stephen talking about hiring Parker and finalizing the staff.
Well, first of all, it was very thorough. Certainly hats off to Coach Schottenheimer and putting a great group together. I mean, we've got to really visit with a lot of top defensive players around the league, and learned a lot about defense, a lot of different systems. As a lot of these younger guys were passing game coordinators under some of the top coordinators in our league. So at the end of the day, we just felt like Christian was a good fit. As I said, there were a lot of qualified guys that could have done a great job, but Christian really made the most sense for us, what we're wanting to do, what he explained to us, and the vision he gave us for using what we think are, some key pieces on the defensive side of the ball. So, just look forward to working with him. I know we're hard at it again. Going to fill out his staff now, and Coach Schottenheimer and Christian have done a great job putting together a good group of candidates, and we'll do the same thing. We've Zoomed with most of them, and we'll have the rest of the guys in here probably starting tomorrow.
That's Stephen Jones talking about his brand new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker. Now, the reason that Parker was hired is, because of the style that he coaches, and he comes from the Vic Fangio tree of defense. We've seen what the Philadelphia defense has been for the couple of years. He has a very particular style that, quite frankly, Dak has been pretty successful against. But it's a blitzing kind of defense that has been truly successful. And given the Dallas Cowboys' current manpower, the hiring of Fangio and bringing in, or the hire of Parker and bringing him in, how does that affect the scheme? He was asked that.
Well, you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, obviously, we know Vic. We interviewed Vic for a job here, head coaching job at one time, and have nothing but respect for the job he's done there in Philly. But at the same time, Christian, walked through some things that if it were his to do, he'd do a little different. And we really liked some of those wrinkles he'll bring as well. But obviously, Vic's one of the great defensive minds in this league. Nothing but respect. But he's learned a lot from him. Learned a lot from other coordinators that he's worked under, and just feel like he's going to do a great job for us.
The worst thing about the Cowboys last year, the worst part, there were, losing an all-NFL superstar like Micah obviously stunted the Cowboys' defense, but the truly surprising part of the defense was how bad they were on pass defense. How many big plays did they give up? It just seemed like week after week, every quarterback the Cowboys played had either a season high or a career high. It was one or the other every week. And if we played you, we were your slump buster. We got you out of the doldrums. If you were having trouble focusing in and being accurate, suddenly all the passes dropped in because the Cowboys had zero back-end help. And that's the reason that I think Parker was brought in, because Vic Fangio plays a style of defense that has you don't get beat deep in a Fangio defense. He plays two high safeties that protect against that. So this was not just a replacement of Eberflus. This was putting out a fire. This was the nightmare scenario is you can't stop the run, but you make up with it for your inability to defend the backside of the pass. And we just got torched consistently. You get those too deep, and then you start the Fangio blurry defense of guys coming from all over the place. Fangio's a heck of a defensive coordinator, and we hope that Parker brings that. Now, that's going to affect the draft. That's going to affect some stuff because of the style that he wants to play. One of the things about a young coach is they bring this vigor, this pepper to a team, and Parker is known for that. Stephen was asked about Parker's communication skills and growing this defense in the speed that he's going to have to grow it.
Very, very smart, great communicator, which at the end of the day, one of our top priorities is to be a great teacher. These defenses are very complicated, but at the same time, you want to, and he was really good at explaining it not only to Coach Schottenheimer, to Will, but to Jerry and myself. But you want to make complicated things seem easy so the players can use their athletic ability, play fast, do the things you want them to do, have the identity you want them to have on that side of the ball. And he was just outstanding. He's obviously very, very bright, and I think he's going to be an outstanding teacher. Obviously, his track record speaks for itself. Some of the players he's developed, and Surtain, Quinnen up there in DeJean in Philly. He's done a great job developing players. We certainly need that in our back end. And then, love his thoughts on the front seven as well. So, and the ways that he's going to get pressure. I mean, we certainly need to do all the above.
All right, so defensive coordinator, check. And, I think we're as excited about bringing him in as I think some people were about Flus. I mean, the proof is going to be in the pudding. The good news is no matter what happens to Christian Parker, he can be comfortable in the fact that he's not going to show up for work and have Micah Parsons exited. He's going to show up for work, and all of his stars are still going to be here right all the way into the season. So he'll start ahead of the game. There needs to be massive change on the defense. It is evident, and he's going to have to scheme his way through a couple of years because they're going to have to draft appropriately or free agent appropriately to help that defense. But as we head into the offseason and we head into time to sign our free agents, I saw something float around on Monday that was a bit frightening for a Cowboy fan. And I don't know if it would have scared Dak. I don't know if it scared anybody else short of Shoddy, but the rumor was of a dude that we got might end up someplace else. We're going to talk about who that is and where they might go and what would happen if he does. And there's a running back that the Cowboys need to kind of lock up too. What's more important as the free agency period comes? We're talking Cowboys in just about, I'd say about 19 minutes. So you can trust me on that. But coming around the bend, the Spurs flexed last night. Wemby went for a double-double, blocked 5 shots, and Spurs win. Let's talk about how they did it, what they got to do, carry it on next. This is the Morning Huddle, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You're listening to the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. KTFM Floresville.
This report is sponsored by Staples. It's a new year, and Staples has fresh deals to get you fully equipped for 2026, like up to $120 off HP Smart Tank printers. This deal means business, and so do these printers. Shop in-store and online today. Staples, that was easy. Ends January 31st.
Start the year in dry at North Park Chevrolet in Castroville. All Silverado 1500s get 1.9% financing plus an additional $1,250 trade-in rebate. Or buy a new Colorado for only $28,999. And the affordable Trax is only $346 a month with 0 down. Plus, all heavy duties have 5.9% financing for 84 months. Together, let's drive. North Park Chevrolet, 10 minutes by Loop 410 in Castroville. Must qualify. Call 830-355-2107 for full price and offer details.
Hello, this is Jason Thompson, and as you know, I've been practicing law here in San Antonio for more than 30 years, helping people and families injured in traffic collisions. So I'm often asked, what is the worst thing you can do after a traffic collision? And the answer is easy. That's trying to handle it on your own without an attorney. Insurance companies have spent billions perfecting their strategy of paying nothing or as little as they can get away with. It wouldn't be David versus Goliath. It would be David versus a million Goliaths. You have no chance. Using AI for help is even worse because AI routinely gives dangerously inaccurate legal advice. It is laughably bad on the law. So bad that a lawyer filing a document drafted by AI will likely be disbarred in Texas. Keep it simple. Just call me. My name is Jason Thompson. I'll give you a free review of your case with no obligation to hire me. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400 or my website, alawyerforus.com. That's alawyerforus.com.
It's impossible to have a bad day when you started with Chick-fil-A.
Hi, I'm Miles.
And this is Grant.
And the little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is
how the fluffy, crispy goodness wakes us up in the morning. The chicken is crispy, the biscuit is soft, it's iconic.
Throw some jelly on it, you can throw some honey on it. It helps me kick off the day.
The hash browns are great. And I really like the shape of them too. Little circles of crispy goodness. Yeah, those early morning chicken biscuits are just great, man.
Mornings are a little bit brighter with the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit and Simply Orange Juice. Available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
In the U.S., 1 in 5 children with cancer will not survive. But there is hope because of you. Help give them more birthdays, more moments, more tomorrows, because every child deserves a chance to grow up. Give them tomorrow. Support St. Jude today.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-269-3394. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394.
Big tax changes this year could mean a bigger refund, and Jackson Hewitt knows how to get you your biggest. You'll get $100 just to try us. That won't make you filthy rich, but definitely gas plus groceries rich. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back, which would make you low-key loaded. Or at least wealthy adjacent? Go with our trusted pros and get $100 to switch. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
All right, let's start with some good news. They picked up that road work, 35 southbound O'Connor to Weidner. You're still going to notice some delays, though, as we are now into the meat of our morning rush hour. So still a little bit of stop and go from right around Schertz Parkway. Also sluggish along 281 southbound Stono Parkway to Isom and 90 eastbound 211 on over to Loop 410. That stall we had at 410 eastbound at Cherry Ridge did clear. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
San Antonio Sports Center.
In the NBA, the Spurs had a big old flex night with a 111-99 win over the Houston Rockets. Wemby was impressive, 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 blocks in the win. Spurs head to Charlotte for a 2 o'clock tip on Saturday. In other Spurs news, forward Jeremy Sohan has been given permission to find a trade partner. The Bulls, Hornets, Knicks, Lakers, and Suns are among the teams who do have interest in him. Speaking of trades, the Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is ready to move on as the Milwaukee Bucks have begun listening to aggressive offers, according to ESPN's Shams Charania. The Knicks, Heat, T-Wolves, and Warriors are said to be those in the mix. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome aboard and gather round. It is the Morning Huddle. I'm Rob Thompson. No AJ today. He'll be back mañana. Victor Brown maintains consistency on the other side of the double pane. We got 2 hours of fun headed your way. I'm almost completely out the door. I'm going to do my best to stay with you all the way through this. But in my mind, I'm already there.
You're already there.
Les a bon temps roulé.
Yeah. You're waiting to board the flight.
I'm going to go head to Mardi Gras, eat some good food for the next couple of days, and repent on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
But party like it's Mardi Gras this weekend. We are headed to the big game, known as the Superb Owl in some circles, but it is awfully big, and we got our coverage to you front and back. Jason and I will be out there all week long, making sure you are behind the scenes and appropriately aware of all the things that are happening. And when we go and do those fun things, of course, we rely on the good people to help us get there. And as always, AA Best Bail Bonds is helping us get there, along with all the other big game coverage provided by Smoky Moe's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. Your front seat to backstage live action in the Bay Area is right here, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. And boy, as this dead week has gone through, the NBA has certainly kind of stepped into the void because it's true rumor season. Some are playing their way into trade talks. Some are playing their way out of trade talks. I think the Spurs were never really in too many trade talks other than starting today with the possibility of Sohan taking the move. Last night was as good a win as the Spurs have had this year for sure. maybe in a couple years, because what they did was change the narrative in front of our eyes, at least for a night. For a week, they had been told that, when we had talked about them and told them, you guys are young and you're soft and you're not playing grown man basketball. Go put on your big boy pants and let's play some basketball. You're getting out physical by every team. It's not just Houston. We watched Utah come into our building and whoop us. We gave away a massive lead to an average T-Wolves team. And most recently, we watched Houston just take our lunch money. Take our lunch money and laugh at us on the way out. And then last night, for about, 12 minutes, it looked like it was going to happen again. And then the bear got poked. And it's a skinny bear, a bear that's going to get bigger over the years. But this skinny bear got pissed yesterday. And it was at a very embarrassing moment. He's playing defense on Sengun, and the same things that's been happened to him were happening again. No matter where Sengun started, he finished at the rim. And Wemby was on the ground. Sengun flexing, going and shooting free throws. And from that moment on, for the next, I'd say 6-7 minutes, it became Wemby's game. Blocking shots, getting out on the fast break, hitting shots, getting an alley-oop, doing the things that change the game and providing those oh my God moments that give the Spurs that little bit of lightning, that little bit of extra. And quite frankly, Spurs never really looked back. 16 points down. They fought hard in the second quarter to get things even. And in the third quarter, things changed, and they changed when Wemby wasn't even in the game. So Wemby stud did everything that a poke bear should do as a superstar, but it was the others that came through. Steph Castle, he played as good an all-around game. Now, he's had better offensive games for sure. He has not had a defensive game like he had last night, and his head coach certainly did take notice. And he deserves every bit of the accolades that he was getting. Mitch talked about Steph's all-NBA defense. If I can find the number. He says all-NBA.
I thought this was, I think he's had more than a few, but this was his first all-NBA defense type performance he's had in a minute. And it was good to see, because that's got to be his calling card, and that is his calling card. And just to see him do that against a team like this and the matchups that he had was well received, and we need it all the time.
Well, I needed it all the time, and he's right. Steph has offensive chops. He can be a consistent 16 to 20 point a night guy for his entire NBA career and not really have to work too hard to get it. He's got offensive chops. He's not an offensive player. He is an all-around player that brings as much defense as offense. And his calling card will be defense because he's built like an outside linebacker. And he can run like a two-guard. So the defense is going to come to play. And last night, those linebacker chops came to play. He leaned into Sengun for about 8 or 10 minutes and changed the game. They could no longer rely on mouse in the house, give it to Sengun, and let him dribble around it and just punch Wemby in the gut a couple of times and then go get a layup. They couldn't rely on that anymore. He couldn't get free. Now, Sengun's a great player. He ended up leaving their team in assists, so he adjusted. But the offensive part, the scoring part, was gone. The best substitution switch that Mitch has made all season in my mind. It worked remarkably well. He gets his credit. De'Aaron Fox was his usual fast team captain self, kept the game flowing, but it was the third of the three that was most impressive to me. That was the way Dylan Harper played. In that third quarter, when Wemby sat down to get a blow, to get ready for the fourth, Dylan came in, scored 3 consecutive at-the-rim layups, 6 consecutive points, dominated 3 minutes of play. It was the Dylan Harper show. He was open for a 3. It would have been 9 consecutive points, but he kind of clanked the rebound. But it was in that little run that the game completely changed because they did it without Wemby. Wemby was catching air, and by the time he got back in the fourth, he took over again. But they could do that because Dillon kept the offense going. But at the end of the day, when you hold the Houston Rockets and Kevin Garnett, and we can go up and down that line with guys that can play, can score to 99 points, we'll talk about what Wemby did offensively, but it was the defense that won the basketball game. And it'll be the defense that continues to be the reason why Spurs win big games. Holding the Rockets to 99 points, impressive. Especially given what we thought was could or would happen given previous evidence. What do you think? Best win of the year? Man, I think so. Wemby played spectacularly. And this is coming off the heels. I think, his statement on social, whatever you want to quantify, whether he was going to say or whatever you think he said, it was not an easy 24 hours for Wemby. He knew he was going to step in it when he answered the question about what does he think going on in the United States and Minneapolis in particular. And he said, yeah, I'm a kid. It affects me greatly, but I'm too afraid to say anything about it because what would come back at me, the blowback is not worth the effort for me right now. And then he topped it off with the best thing he could have said. Look, I'm not even from here. I'm French. I'm going to withhold my opinion. But even in that, he took a fair amount of abuse. And then if they'd have gone out last night and gotten beaten the way it looked like they were going to get beat for the first 8 minutes of the game, today was going to be an ugly day, not just for Wemby, but for Mitch, the rest of the Spurs. They were going to need a slump buster, and they're going to head to Charlotte to try to do it on Saturday. But that's not the case today. The game started, if you were watching TNT, and you heard Barkley and Perk and everybody else, the pundits around the NBA hemisphere. Spurs are close. They're just not quite there. They're young, and they can get bodied. And the second half rewrote that script at least for a night. A spectacular performance, and Wemby indeed was there. And it was his change of heart, his attack, his anger that changed things. He was asked how they were able to weather the storm and what he did to get through it. Let's play Wemby 1.
Never really felt like it was a disaster, during the game, even when we were down double digits. It felt like 16, yeah. That's double digits, right? So it felt like, we were patient. We didn't try to rush and we didn't overreact. Because we do need to react, which we did, but often we overreact.
Didn't overreact this time. This isn't going to stop. It's going to be like this until they prove on a consistent basis that if you try to over-physical us, if you try to focus all of your attention in the paint, we're going to fast break past you. We're going to run past you, and we're going to defend the three to where you could just get squashed. And then you let Victor roam the paint, start blocking shots like he did in the fourth. It's a pretty good formula for success if they can get there. We'll close out this the way we started. The way that they're going to have to compete through toughness. And we finally got a chance to see our old friends now at ESPN, formerly of TNT. And Kenny talked about what Wemby and the rest of the Spurs are going to have to face, particularly for the rest of the season. This is Kenny.
It's the fact that this team knows that teams come in and regard them as somebody, if they rough them up, they'll be okay. That, they throw the soft word out there. How do you shed that label?
No, they're talking about Victor, trying to rough Victor up. Because you're not roughing up Castle, Joe, Kelvin. You're not roughing those dudes up. So they're talking about the way to kind of negate some of his offensive prowess is to get physical with him. But he's tough-minded. There's a difference between toughness and tough-minded. You can be physical, and Kevin McHale had the greatest line ever. He said he used to play against the Detroit Pistons, and they get physical, and they start fighting, and he says, eventually, we're going to have to play basketball, and I'm going to kick your ass.
Well, that's
true. Charles reflected on that. Let's close this segment out here for Barkley because it's always worth it. He talked about from here on out, and it is true. What's your only chance against Wemby but doing that?
And the thing is, Ernie, that's your only chance against him. If you don't beat him up, you're not tall enough, you're not athletic enough. If you don't physically try to manhandle Victor, you got no chance. Like, you can't physically manhandle Shaq because he's just too big and strong. The only weakness of Victor's game is holding down the post
and the physical, he gets frustrated. You see him, he got mad a few times because they were beating the hell out of him. But in fairness to them, that's our only chance. Like I say, you're not tall enough, you're not athletic enough, so if you don't physically manhandle him, there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing that you can do. You're at the mercy of whatever he wants to do, as Magic once said. He's about to commit surgery on you. Yes, commit surgery. That's going to be the recipe to beat the Spurs until Wemby and the crew consistently match force for force. And the Spurs did that. Now can they stack it? The difference between a good team and a better team and a better team to a great team is stacking wins, whether that be stacking possessions, stacking halves, stacking quarters, stacking games. Now the Spurs got to start stacking this and maintaining that kind of physicality. That's truly been the key, right? We're going to continue talking to the Spurs in this hour in about 30 minutes because, oh my goodness, things are getting interesting in the NBA world. It's about to get wild, I think, as the trade deadline gets awfully close. We'll look at the culprits and where guys might be landing. But coming up, the free agent season is just around the corner. Stephen Jones was asked about a couple of players, two that I think if you're an offensive-minded player or fan with the Cowboys, you care about. What does Stephen say about Pickens? And how's the Javonte extension talks going? We're going to hear from them next. You want to stay around. This is the Morning Huddle, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I want you to sit back for a second and consider the tall glass of cool water and its value in everyday life. You know, nothing beats a glass of water when you need it most, and if it's coming out of your own faucet, I hope you're not concerned about what's coming out. I hope you're not seeing a bunch of powder on your dishes when you pull them out of the dishwasher. I hope your whites aren't slowly turning gray. I hope you're not feeding that kind of dusty water to your pets. If any of that holds true, your water softening treatment system is not working. I've had a Connecticut as long as I can remember, and I have never had to deal with this. And so if you're dealing with tough water, you're dealing with hard water, whether you're on a well or on your own property or even in an apartment, you know you have access to the best water treatment system you can find anywhere, and that's Connecticut. Write this number down, 656 Pure. If you're ready to buy, if you want to get the very best, right now is the best time. Because not only do you get the quality that Connecticut brings, and that's legendary, and certainly the warranties that come along with it, which, by the way, I've never actually had to use. I hear it's great. You're going to get a free gift, and that is a reverse osmosis drinking station on your sink. They've got the decor to match your pretty decor. And think of this, you're never going to have to buy another water bottle again. You're never going to have to worry about the water you're drinking or putting in your pasta or putting to your dogs. You know it's going to be the very best possible. So call Connecticut today at 656 Pure. Get yourself that Connecticut. Take that free gift home, and then come on by. Thank me later.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the big game in Silicon Valley. And the only local station bringing you exclusive wall-to-wall coverage from the Bay Area. All brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. We're live from Radio Row with insider interviews, breaking stories, and all the pregame excitement leading up to the superb Owl. From the biggest names in sports to behind-the-scenes access, we've got it all. Your AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage is brought to you in part by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. Your front row seat to the backstage action, live from the Bay Area, is 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hello, this is Jason Thompson, and as you know, I've been practicing law here in San Antonio for more than 30 years, helping people and families injured in traffic collisions. So I'm often asked, what is the worst thing you can do after a traffic collision? And the answer is easy. That's trying to handle it on your own without an attorney. Insurance companies have spent billions perfecting their strategy of paying nothing or as little as they can get away with. It wouldn't be David versus Goliath. It would be David versus a million Goliaths. You have no chance. Using AI for help is even worse because AI routinely gives dangerously inaccurate legal advice. It is laughably bad on the law. So bad that a lawyer filing a document drafted by AI will likely be disbarred in Texas. Keep it simple. Just call me. My name is Jason Thompson. I'll give you a free review of your case with no obligation to hire me. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400, or my website, alawyerforus.com. That's alawyerforus.com.
Logan Fury did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he bought a mini treadmill. Is walking on it during video conference calls more distracting than he thought? Yes. And is that because he overestimated his foot-eye coordination? Definitely. But it's Logan's savings, and if he wants to burn calories and any chance at a promotion, we say, good for you, Logan. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone,
Welcome to AutoZone.
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues with UFC 325 live from Australia. Catch featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski in a rematch of his epic title fight against Diego Lopez, and the always dangerous Dan Hooker throws down with dynamic finisher Benoit Saint Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown. UFC fans, pay-per-view just got knocked out. Catch UFC 325 on Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus. Stream every fight live with one subscription. Visit ParamountPlus.com/UFC to get started.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-269-3394. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394.
It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Big Game Giveaway. Predict the exact score of the big game in Santa Clara, California, and you could score $50,000. Make your predictions now at sasportstar.com. The 50K Big Game Giveaway. Brought to you by Dietz Tractor. Score big with Dietz Tractor in Seguin and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Laissez bon temps rouler. Welcome back to the Morning Huddle. This is first line kind of dancing.
Yeah.
Those who know. That's Vic. I'm Rob. We only got about an hour and 40 left of this show. How time slips away when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as the Super Bowl comes, soon thereafter, the league business will pick back up. And as Steven and Jerry disappeared for a little while, they had a coach to go hire and fill some holes, and we're going to talk about that with them. We heard from Steven yesterday, right after they hosted the East-West Shrine Bowl up there at the Star. So they had front and center view of a bunch of draft picks. No, the Shrine Bowl, that's not normally your first and second rounders, but it's the fourth, fifth, and sixth rounders that are playing there, and there's good talent to be had. And unfortunately, the Cowboys need a lot of good talent. But first and foremost, free agency. And I guess it was Monday. I was on Twitter, socials, I don't know where I was, and I saw something pop up, and of course you never know, but it was essentially the Bills are going to pay Pickens. But Josh Allen, while he got to hire his head coach and got to hire his new offensive coordinator and got to hire everybody, he wants him a wide receiver. And at least on Tuesday, now I've heard nothing from anybody else, but at least it does appear that the Buffalo Bills, at least somebody up there, is interested in Pickens. Stephen was asked about the Pickens extension and where we sit, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's guys that we want to keep from last year, whether it's a George Pickens, whether it's a Javonte. Those are all guys that play into, the free agency picture. At the same time, obviously we've got work to do on the defensive side of the ball. So between free agency, between the draft, there's a lot of resources there that we can use to make our defense better.
So the chase will continue. We're very well aware that there's a fair amount of desire for Pickens. Up and through the season, and I still kind of lay here. I think the Cowboys need to go ahead and just, the moment they're able to, franchise. I don't see how you can go into next year adding to the questions. We got enough questions. The Cowboys have the money. After the season, I don't think anybody doubts his want to. Now, he's still Carl, and he still had a couple of Pickens moments, but for the most part, we can hear free agency and we can hear numbers batted around, but I can't imagine a scenario where Carl Pickens does not come back as a Dallas Cowboy. Now, the hit wouldn't be cheap. It would be about $28 million to franchise him, but I can't imagine letting it get that far. Now, here's a little fly in the ointment. I don't know how much it truly matters. Because keeping in mind, the last time that Jerry and Steven dealt with a high-profile free agent and his management team, they dealt with Athletes First. Athletes First represents Micah Parsons. So Jerry and Steven, they whiffed on the last negotiation with Athletes First. So I don't expect this to go too deep. I think that he's going to be franchised as soon as possible. I don't think that they want to add to more problems. Now, that's one part of the offense. The other is Javonte Williams had a breakout year. He was everything the Cowboys hoped they were getting. Now, remember, they're signing him off. They signed him off a knee injury. It was kind of a show-me deal. Are you going to be well enough and capable enough to carrying through the season? And I think by just about every measure, Javonte lived up to the task. They asked Steven about the current negotiation process with Javonte.
We've certainly visited with Javonte. Hadn't had those visits. A lot of those happen at the Combine. Obviously, we're still, got some time before free agency starts, and not able to talk to those guys until free agency starts. But we're always visiting with representatives about our players.
The NFL Combine around the corner. It's going to be, let's see, what's the specific dates for us? It'll get going on February the 22nd through March the 2nd. So what he's saying is agents are all going to everybody shows up in Indianapolis for the Combine, whether they got guys in there or not. It's where the deals start to be getting done. And then we'll hit the free agency period very soon thereafter. So and all the acquisitions. So I think the time frame is right. And this is another situation where I can't imagine this slips out of Steven's control. They're going to re-sign Javonte, and I think it won't be as expensive as maybe we think it could be. But I do foresee an extension or a high draft pick of a running back, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I think they're pretty happy there. But you never know with the Cowboys. Last time they were dealing with the Athletes First crew, there was words about folding something up and sticking it up their butt was the end of that little negotiation. So it didn't work out last time. Let's hope Steven and crew can carry it through. Finally, It's time for it's the season of we're not quite at the OTAs with our new draft picks and the negotiations with free agents where hope springs eternal. We're still in the sadness of a season that just didn't work out. That defense was terrible. Our favorite player in some instances was gone before it even got started. Injuries took their toll, and the Cowboys sitting and watching. So it's time for Steven to fire us up, to let us know that, hey, we're righting the ship and we're heading forward. He told us what their expectations are for 2026.
We want to be one of the top defenses in this league, and certainly I believe, if we do that, what we can do on the offensive side of the ball, certainly we think we're going to have almost all the pieces back. Then we can have a really great football team. Complement that with a really strong special teams unit, and I think good things will happen for this football team.
Good things will happen. Hope springs eternal. By his statements, that I think that further reinforces the fact that they do expect it's one way or another. Pickens will be here if it involves a franchise. It involves a franchise, and Javonte Williams will sign. And so I think, given the fact that every bit of the conversation yesterday was primarily about Christian Parker showing up, the new defense, the Fangio style, what you're going to need to draft and what you're going to need to free agent to get your way out of having the worst defense in the history of the Cowboys, and quite frankly, just about the worst defense in the history of the NFL. I want you to consider that for a minute. That's where they're coming from. So it ain't going to take a whole lot to kind of get off the floor. As we always say, you can't fall off the floor. But hope springs eternal, and I do think that, judging by at least yesterday, what Steven had to say, they are indeed not only focusing on a new scheme with Christian Parker, but making sure that they draft and free agent appropriately to make sure they have the guys to do what Parker wants to do. And if they do, then we'll start talking about the way we were talking last summer. If the defense can just hold their own, this team should be moderately successful. If the defense can just hold their own and the offense can maintain and improve just a couple of positions, one on the line, and we'll see if it kicks through. That this will continue. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of news coming out of the Super Bowl as all the teams show up there, and we'll make sure we bring them to you on a consistent basis. Before we head off the NFL world, the Bill Belichick mess is just really starting to burn. We're almost to the end of the sanctimonious, oh my God, how did it happen phase of the surprise. Now we're about to reach the placing blame part of the scenario that involves a story like this. First, we're shocked, surprised, and awed. Then we're angry, and then we want to blame somebody. And I don't blame those that felt like Belichick was one in. I think most of us believed he was, except for 10 or so writers that had their own personal axes to grind or their own personal reasons. Up until this point, we would have never known. But I get the sense over the next couple of days that the NFL Hall of Fame committee and all the crews that are involved are going to have to adjust, or at least for the short term, tell us how this happened. And I think that most NFL fans today, and in particularly Patriot fans, are looking at these writers like they're ICE agents wearing a mask. Like you're doing what we thought was supposed to be a good thing. Like you're doing some stuff that, no matter what side of the fence you're on, they're supposed to be helping. And this didn't help it. And us not knowing who it is and doing what they want to do, and we don't know who it was, this isn't helping either. So I get the sense over the next couple of days, the movement is going to be, first and foremost, who the hell are the voters and who the hell did not vote for Bill Belichick on that ballot? I'm not pro this. I think it's a bad idea. I think they need to fix this. I think from here on, we need to carry it in. But right now, even though I think that those that did not include Belichick on their top 3 ballot erred, were stupid, were ignorant, or had an axe to grind, I don't think they deserve what could be coming. But from here on out, I do think there should be some form of transparency. Some form. Maybe like baseball, where you can choose to make it public. Yeah, you can see my ballot. You don't have to, but I'll brag on it. I'll tweet it out. I'll show it. But I think that we kind of deserve to have an idea how this happened. Now, the current system has worked for forever. And what went down in the previous weeks, if you haven't been paying attention, was we had 5 nominees from this special committee. 3 players, L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, and Ken Anderson, old-timey players. And then we had a contributor, owner, and Robert Kraft, and then we had a coach. And we had 50 voters all in a room, and a case was made. They had their own advocate come in front of the room and argue as to why each one of these guys should go into the Hall of Fame. Now, I would have thought the easiest job of the day would be for Bill Belichick's advocate to walk in there and basically just put 8 rings on the table. I wouldn't say a word. Just walk in, ask for Bill's collection, put it on the table, say, I don't need to say anything. This is it. 8 rings, 6 as a head, 2 as a coordinator. I don't need to say anything else. I don't need to I don't need to advocate. I don't need to give you some points and tell you, no, despite him being gruff, he's a really nice guy. I don't have to say that. And that's probably how it went. And everybody else in the room, except for those that deep-seated hated him for whatever reason, felt like, yeah, he's a shoo-in. Who would vote not against Belichick? Because that's not how it works. You're voting for. Who wouldn't vote for Belichick to get in? And if I feel like all 50 are going to do that, and heck, I think Roger Craig was the precursor to the modern running back. I think what he did in the 80s was what running backs aspire to be in this modern age, a dual threat. He was the first McCaffrey. He was the guy who high-kneed his way to touchdowns and caught passes in the flat from Montana and was what running backs aspire to be now. I believe that, and I think he should go into the Hall of Fame. So I am not going to include him on my ballot. Of course, I was going to vote for L.C. Greenwood, and of course, I was going to vote for Ken Anderson. But I really feel like players before coaches, and so that's what I'm going to do. But I expect the other 49, not to be harebrained, to include Belichick on every ballot. And it didn't happen. So I don't want guys to get doxxed, not because they were anti. They just felt like, I don't need to do that for them. Everybody else will. And it will be a doxing. Whoever, if we find out, whoever it was, they didn't vote or for whatever reason didn't include him on the ballot, there's going to be hell to pay. Maybe it's worth it. But those guys did place those votes with the understanding that they would not be made public. So I do think votes were made because it was going to remain private. So I don't think it should change. But I do think from here on out, things are going to have to get fixed. And who knows what Goodell's going to do? Who knows? Because I can't imagine being him and all the suits going, this is our problem today. I had a lot of things that I thought might jump up. I had a lot of things that I thought I might have to deal with, like maybe assistant coaches for Seattle getting tampered with. Maybe some stuff that truly matters to the league I'd have to pay attention to. But now I got to spend the next 2 days putting out this stupid fire. It's those kind of decisions that you go, I should never have had to deal with this. And I don't ever want to have to deal with this again. So I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and make a decision now. And we're going to live with the unintended consequences that are going to happen because we didn't think it all the way through. But this is just about enough, right? I don't know of anyone, not one person that I have spoken with, not one, who says anything other than, yeah, he should be in. But I think because of the viewed travesty, we have forgotten that he did cheat and got caught twice. And see, that's part of the narrative that the NFL can't afford to bring up, period. Good, bad, or indifferent. We don't want to bring up the past gates, spy, deflate. Anything with a gate on it, you know it didn't go well. We don't have to bring that up and rehash something that, God, we had hoped we had put to bed. But here we're going to have to talk about the winningest Super Bowl coach of all time putting together a fake video crew to go to the Cincinnati Bengals practice day to act like they're filming a groundskeeper when instead they're videoing their practice. We have to talk about that. We have to talk about the fact that the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL doctored his balls, lessened the air, cheated in front of everybody. And Belichick never paid a price. Now, there was a fine. By the time all this was said and done, the Patriots paid over $2 million in fines, lost upwards of 3-4 draft picks. But we're supposed to forget about that because he's the greatest coach there ever was. But now we got to talk about it. That's where we sit today. So the NFL's got to do two things at once. Fix the problem, fix this entry method, and sweep this under the rug. We don't want to talk about the cheater. We'll continue with this. Spurs flexed last night. The NFL free agency period's about to begin. We heard from Steven, and oh my goodness, the trade deadline's just around the corner. Where's the freak going to land? We're talking about it next year on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Still noticing some delays along 35 southbound O'Connor to Weidner, where we just picked up some road work. So with the combination of rush hour, you still might notice a little bit of a delay. 281 southbound Stone Oak to Isom. That's about a 10-12 minute ride, and about 10-12 minutes on 90 eastbound 211 over to 410. Now, if you guys see something we're not talking about, do call us on the traffic tip line so we can check it out at 210-785-2601. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Football's biggest game, it's almost here, baby. And you know where you want to get in on all that action. Underdog Fantasy. And if you're not on there yet, great news. New customers get $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. And it's so easy to play. Just go to the app, make your picks on if your players are going to go higher or lower on stats, touchdowns, receiving yards, rushes, you name it, sacks. And if you get it right, you go up to 5,000 times your cash. There's new promos dropping daily in the app. It is the best place to play. And for the big game, I am looking at sacks on Drake May. I think Drake May, who's gotten sacked 5 times a game in these playoffs, I think he's going down. What are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use my promo code Alamo. You'll get $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code Alamo. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Texas. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
It's Pork Rind Appreciation Day at PorkRinds.com. Hall of Famer Devin Hester and PorkRinds.com are lining up to be the heroes for the Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund. Pork Rinds are the MVP of the snack aisle. Low-carb, gluten-free, and packed with protein. Don't settle for ordinary on game day. Visit PorkRinds.com to enter for a chance to win a 2027 Big Game Travel Package and a year's supply of rinds. Support a great cause and find your favorite rinds at PorkRinds.com. Pork Rind Appreciation Day, the crunchiest day in football.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues with UFC 325 live from Australia. Catch featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski in a rematch of his epic title fight against Diego Lopez, and the always dangerous Dan Hooker throws down with dynamic finisher Benoit Saint Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown. UFC fans, pay-per-view just got knocked out. Catch UFC 325 on Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus. Stream every fight live with one subscription. Visit ParamountPlus.com/UFC to get started.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, a UTSA Roadrunner is playing in the Super Bowl.
Reek Woolen will join us on The Blitz around 2:05, right as we get the show started.
What in the world was he saying to the LA Rams the other day on the sideline?
Plus the Spurs and Rockets, all the reaction from last night in H-Town.
The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good morning, all. Hope that commute is going well. It's the Morning Huddle here on 94.1. Sunshine and lollipops around here. Because Vic Brown is in our presence. And AJ shall return mañana. Did I bring this up yesterday on air? Did I talk about me dropping him off at the airport to go stay 3 days in Vegas? And he got out of my car.
Yeah.
And did not take anything but a half-full backpack.
Oh, I thought it was an HEB bag.
It could have been. But literally, I dropped him at the airport on Tuesday afternoon. He was not to return until today.
Yeah, he travels light.
Light, man, like a terrorist.
Like no underwear.
Like,
light.
dude, you have a return ticket? I hope so. But he'll be back tomorrow. I, on the other hand, am going to need a...
You have 2 suitcases?
I'm going to need a Sherpa. I'm going to need one of those dudes that carries all the gear up the... off Mount Everest, one of those dudes to fly in and carry the gear I'm bringing.
What do you got, 4 suitcases?
Well, first of all, I'm a woman. I pack like a woman. I pack too much. I'm a bad packer. Always have been.
Okay.
So I overpack. And now, not only have I overpacked, I'm having to pack for 2 different things. I'm having to pack for Mardi Gras, which luckily is about as cold as it's going to be in San Francisco, which is normally not the case.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, but the thing is, when you're a man of my...
How many shoes you taking?
3.
Okay.
I had to whinny down.
Oh, you were going to take, 6?
Normally, I have my own shoe suitcase. Again, I'm not proud of who I am. This is just who I am. I've accepted that I have this. So not only do I have all of this gear, but then I'm dealing with my wife's gear, too. And she packs worse than I do. So we need a professional Sherpa. We need one of those dudes that you can stack like 9 suitcases on their back.
Oh, yeah. And it's no problem.
Or I either need a Sherpa or I need some of those little Chick-fil-A kids on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah. Hey, man, they'll do anything for money.
Yeah. Pick up these bags and carry them.
Yeah.
Get them through the car. I need a couple of those guys as we head out.
So how many bags you taking? 4 or 5?
Well, I've got one that is, quite frankly, it's more of a steamer case than it is a suitcase. You could put a body in this. It's literally, I think it's the biggest kind of suitcase you can buy without calling it a trunk.
Okay.
So I have that, and then I have all of the backdrops that you're going to see behind us when you watch us all next week, as you should and would and will.
Okay.
So I'm taking that. And then, of course, there's the shoe bag that my wife and I share. And then, of course, there's her bag that she has all of these stuff packed.
Jeez. That's what, about $400 worth of luggage?
Yeah, I remember when Southwest used to take first bag free. That's gone. And here's the other thing. I hadn't flown on Southwest since they've gone to the assigned seat thing. So I am so conditioned. I am so conditioned as a Southwest airline customer for these many years that exactly 24 hours before my flight, I am sitting with the open app ready to check in so I can get on the A. Yeah, I got to get in first so I can stretch out and hide and put some stuff in the other seat and act like my pregnant wife's coming and say, oh, I'm sorry, my pregnant wife's coming. And, and maybe get a seat by myself. Well, now I still did that yesterday. It's 24 hours prior, and I'm sitting refreshing because if you don't get in that first 50, you're screwed. You know, in my estimation, there's no up. You end up putting your bag halfway up the plane and sitting way on the other side. End up in the middle. End up next to some, I don't know, overly conversational 400-pound sweaty wrestler. I don't know, but if you're not in the A group, B, C, and D, man, you're screwed. That's how I've been conditioned.
This is why I don't go anywhere.
So yesterday, as I go to check in, I look and I say, well, I've already got an assigned seat. I remember when I bought it, I bought the seat like every other airline in the world. But I'm still like 24 hours, boom, check in, and it meant absolutely nothing. I didn't have to do that. I don't think. But it's going to be hard for me to be reconditioned, man. I've been trained. If you don't have an A, if you're not coming in first, you're last. So here we sit on our way out. AJ will be here again tomorrow. What did I tease? What do you want to talk about to close this hour out? It's like a free-for-all. Hey, speaking of, just as a side note, I'm going down the Brigade Bar. And, you know, the funny thing about how these awards go is Belichick isn't in. And everybody is furious at the fact that the guarantee isn't there. But the unintended consequence of the guarantee isn't there. There's going to be somebody gets in the Hall of Fame that did not think they were going to get in. There's somebody going to get in. Now, in San Antonio, Jim Plunkett still reigns supreme. He's got some Hispanic heritage and certainly has the 2 Super Bowls, has all the numbers to get in, yet he's not in. Now, he's not on this ballot. He's not going to get in this one. I'm sorry. And, you know, by the definition, I do believe he probably does belong. Mm-hmm. But I think before the news hit on Monday, the Kenny Anderson family, the L.C. Greenwood family, and the Roger Craig family, all three thought, well, you know, it's just an honor being nominated. Because if I was part of the 5, and I know that I had a great career, whether I'm alive or dead, and I'm part of the family, and I look at L.C. Greenwood, Kenny Anderson, Roger Craig, Robert Kraft, and Bill Belichick. Well, now I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure Belly's in. Pretty sure he's going to get all the votes. Pretty sure Kraft probably is going to get in. He might not get in now. He's still got some shower table issues of his own. He's got to deal with a different little dalliance with some masseuses. I don't know how do you say a group of massage therapists. But he did get a little rub and tug down in South Florida that he's going to have to atone for at some point. So that might slow him down. Or just the affiliation with Belichick might have been enough. And then there's 2 dudes that, quite frankly, all in their own idiom deserving. I know a lot of people looking at Kenny Anderson going, really? But in his day, way back in the 70s, he was of merit. Now, is he better than Plunkett? No. But this is his time. This is the opportunity. This is why they have this set up. So I find it interesting that while the whole world's mad at Belichick, there's a group of people going, hey, we're going to get in. Who'd have thought? Because 10 idiot writers didn't like the way Belichick spoke to him back in 2003. Didn't give him the interview. So now Kenny Anderson could get a gold jacket. So there's some benefit to the other side of this, especially if you're a Bengal fan. You don't get to cheer for Hall of Fame entries very often. Pittsburgh fan, yeah, you sent a few in. 49er fan, yeah, you sent a few in. Bengal fan, they don't get a whole lot of opportunities to get a Bengal into the Hall of Fame, and this is one of those rare ones. And by some quirk, some perfect storm of angry writer and general sentiment about a team that seems to have been reborn again without them, you're going to stumble your way in. backwards. That's the real feel-good story of this, that there's a dude that's actually going to make it into the Hall of Fame after certainly all three are deserving in their own merits, but I don't think any one of those three felt like it was a sure thing. And now you woke up on Tuesday going, well, if he's not in, that gives me one more shot, one more opportunity to get in. So there might be a knock on the door from a Mr. David Baker imminent here in the next week as everybody gets announced. We're down to just an hour to fulfill your wildest radio dreams. And I have built my entire life to take you there in just the next hour. And in planning for that, these are the things that I have in mind to celebrate the last hour of my week and the penultimate hour show of this week. And so we're going to, on the other side, look at where the trades are going to happen on the NBA. There's a variety of teams that are certainly looking, and there's a few guys that are available. Where's Ja going to land? Is he going to go someplace? Is Giannis imminent to move? After what I saw last night in Cleveland, the love fest that was for LeBron, is Cleveland going to make a move to bring in LeBron right now? I know I would. And where's Jeremy going to land? We're going to look at that. We're going to look at the flex that the Spurs offered last night and look forward to Charlotte and see what they're going to get going on. We got a lot of college basketball to look into, and we'll close down the way we should, appropriately and fun. We're thanking you for hanging around with us. Just a few more hours, or a few more minutes of fun. So don't go anywhere. Just get your coffee and sit back and listen to these fine sponsors. They're helping you get all this. Let's go get a snack. It's the Morning Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Riding to work with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. It's the Morning Huddle, KTFM Floresville.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Progressive Insurance knows pets, and one of the biggest differences between people and pets is that we don't eat things off the floor. but dogs definitely will. And it makes them so happy, no matter what it looks like, smells like, or what state of decomposition it's in. We all want to go through life that carefree. And that's also why you should get Progressive Pet Insurance, because they eat things off the floor. So protect your pet from all the questionable life decisions they make. You know where they drink from when you're gone, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
From 30 for 30 Podcasts.
Brian Pata, senior defensive lineman from Miami, gunned down.
The key to this case, it's Brian.
An hour before he died, he was on the phone arguing with somebody.
This might be a hit.
You want the truth. They just want a conviction.
Being placed under arrest.
We had a killer amongst us.
Murder at the U, coming soon. In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. In good shape as you head out and about this midday. It's about a 10-12 minute ride on 1604 westbound Pat Booker Road on over to Bitters. 90 eastbound 211 to 410. That's also rolling a bit slowly. We do have a stall at 410 westbound approaching Vance Jackson. They quickly moved it off a main lane off to the shoulder. Now, if you guys see something we're not talking about, call us on the traffic tip line. We'll check it out. 210-785-2601. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA. Time Saver Traffic.
San Antonio Sports Center.
In the NBA, the Spurs had a big old flex night with a 111-99 win over the Houston Rockets. Wemby was impressive, 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 blocks in the win. Spurs head to Charlotte for a 2 o'clock tip on Saturday. In other Spurs news, forward Jeremy Sohan has been given permission to find a trade partner. The Bulls, Hornets, Knicks, Lakers, and Suns are among the teams who do have interest in him. Speaking of trades, the Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is ready to move on as the Milwaukee Bucks have begun listening to aggressive offers, according to ESPN's Shams Charania. The Knicks, Heat, T-Wolves, and Warriors are said to be those in the mix. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, huddle up. We only got an hour to go. We're going into our 2-minute offense. Our prevent defense. We'll finish strong with tempo and activity. You feeling that tempo and activity, Vic?
Yeah, let's
feeling
do
it.
Let's do it. Yeah, show's flying by.
You know, actions without meaning are just is an activity. So maybe we'll go above and beyond that and make this an event. But we got another hour. The trade deadline is looming in the NBA, and the names are going to start flourishing, popping up. Those that are movable, those that aren't, those that want to be moved but can't. And the bellyachers are just going to end up landing. And then there'll be a surprise or two. It always happens. I was just talking with Edwin, our crack research staff, and he reminded me of the Saturday Night Massacre last year, February the 1st, which is, 2 days away. The night that we were all headed to New Orleans to get ready for Super Bowl party and all that, and Luka got traded. And it swallowed up Super Bowl coverage. I mean, for 36 hours, it was the preeminent story in the world that some idiot named Nico Collins just traded Luka to the lake. It still is just, you did what?
What's he doing right now?
Nico?
Yeah.
Driving a beer truck. He's unemployed. As he should be, but that was just 1 year ago. And the threat of something equally as big the week before the Super Bowl is imminent. It's going to happen, I think. I think that while I'm in San Francisco talking nothing but football, Milwaukee is going to make the deal of deals. Because with every passing second, the deals get worse. They don't get better. So what do they? I read it in my Sports Center, and I want to use the correct wording. This, according to ESPN, they are listening to aggressive offers. Aggressive offers, not passive. In your face offers, whatever the hell that means. So who would be the likely candidates? We'll get there because there's more than just him. Okay, so we got Giannis. The obvious ones we know. Anthony Davis, Mr. IR, who was part of that Saturday Night Massacre just a year ago. And the Freak, Kuminga. Those guys are front and center. There's also, I've seen Zach LaVine's name kicked around. He could help some people. Miles Bridges is out there. I'm not sure he has overcome the negative off-the-court stuff. And there's a lot of teams that I think if he landed, there'd be some discussion as to his merits as a professional athlete once his record is exposed. But he's a viable guy, and that's just on the top. So those are the big names. There's lots of other ones. Jeremy Sohan certainly is in the mix. Then you're like, okay, we got the big names. Who are the shoppers? I think Golden State is looking to save the end of Steph Curry's career. I think that to finish this thing out the way it began, it would behoove them to just kind of pull the Band-Aid off and finish this era and begin a new one. Try to do something kind of like what the Lakers are trying to do with Luka arriving and LeBron phasing out. The next chapter is already in the building. And I think that they've got a unique opportunity right now because they got a little bit of talent. They got a little bit of money. And they've got the need because without them, they're not going to make the playoffs. So I think Golden State's going to be an imminent player to go get the things done. You're going to see and hear a lot about the Phoenix Suns right now. And while I'm not a huge fan of Matt Ishbia, the owner, I do like some of the things that he's done. And to his credit, getting rid of Bradley Beal and doing the things that he's done turned the franchise around a little bit quicker than I thought. I think this is a shopping team. I think they're looking to get a guy or two and get themselves into the play-in. They certainly have performed to that level so far, so I think Phoenix is going to be an absolute player, and I think they're going to be a player big time for Sohan. I don't know whether I want to see him again. I wish him well, but if I had my opportunity, I'd certainly like to trade him someplace where I only play him once a year. But given the situation that the Spurs have put him in, it wouldn't anger me at all to see him play for an opponent that we have to play a couple of times a year. The Heat are going to be a consistent shopper, though. I'm not sure the value that Tyler Hero or Jaime Jaquez brings to the table. I think there's a team or two that could use that kind of scoring punch to get themselves through. I know that the Spurs have no need for anything that they're offering, so they wouldn't play a part in anything. And I don't think Sohan has the value there. The Knicks, I think, are always going to be a threat to go get Giannis, or make the splash because that's just what the Knicks do. And the funny thing about the Knicks being in a position to really improve themselves and make another run, Brooklyn, on the other hand, has all the money. Brooklyn right now is $15 million to absorb and then cut loose next year. So I think Brooklyn will be a shopper, but they're going to be shopper for expiring contracts, a lot like Sohan. So I think they're going to be in the mix just to carry through and exit some money out the back door when they get moving. Where do you think Sohan should go? And should the Spurs, well, Should they let him hold on and maybe him stay? Are we that emotionally attached to Sohan to not move him, let him go into the free agency, see if he can make his best deal and maybe try to match it? I think after last night, where we saw the Spurs win despite, go get a hard-fought victory despite not having the kind of manpower that is going to be required on a consistent basis to play the overtly, obviously physical teams that have a game plan that involves you picking up fouls and playing in the paint and just having to be tougher than you would against a lot of finesse teams. We don't have the horsepower to do that on a regular basis. Last night was an example of Mitch, really a great coaching switch, putting Steph Castle on their biggest dude. And keep in mind, Houston didn't have one of their other bigs, the big New Zealander, Steven. He wasn't there. So they were minus one more big that has ruined the Spurs in the past. So it took a bit of a perfect storm to overcome their physicality. I think it was so apparent last night that we did it despite the fact not being big enough. So while Sohan is on the block, if he was part of the plan at the beginning or even last year, I think that his value last night would have been extraordinary. He does, or was going to do, what we need him to do, but we did not train him to do what we now need him to do. Gosh, I wish he had become what we thought he was going to be when we drafted him. 6'10", could defend three players, a willing passer. Now, notice I didn't say score. And that's what he's become, a willing passer, a goon, a defender at times, but not one that can play through. But, what could have been and what could be. But we did it to him. We put him at point guard, and he lost a year of development. It's not in the offing. And the best, I think, that we could have ever seen of Jeremy Sohan, his highest and best, is essentially Amin Thompson. We saw what, if Jeremy had lived up to everything the Spurs had drafted, had been playing in the appropriate position, doing the appropriate things, he would be, I think, essentially a poor man's Amin Thompson. Amin is just a little bit more physically gifted. But as far as attitude and defensive prowess and ability to play a couple of different positions, that's what we hoped Sohan would be, but it just didn't turn out that way. And, man, we missed that body last night. Now, the victory was attained, and it was won the way the Spurs are going to have to continue to do it to beat the physical teams, to beat the Clevelands, and to beat the Minnesotas, the T-Wolves. And to get by a front line that is captained by a big center that can do a lot of things, like the Joker. We're not prepared for those guys. We don't have the manpower for that. Now, we can X and O our way through a couple of games, but when you're looking at 4 straight, your weakness is exposed and eventually will be your end. And we saw it last night. We saw the weakness. It was exposed, but we overcame it. I'm just not sure, given the current manpower, that we still can. And it's tough to say that because I know the fix is actually sitting on the roster, that Jeremy could have done that if given the opportunity, and just it's not going to be there. He got the okay yesterday, so I expect that before I get back from San Francisco, while we're talking Super Bowl, not only do I think there's going to be a massive move, the Giannis domino will fall, I don't think Jeremy will be here. It's going to be it won't be a difficult goodbye because it's not like he's heading off into the ether and going to be in Europe a la Alani. I do think Jeremy, if physically capable, has the skill set to help. I'll say it again. He's what good teams can afford and what great teams always have. That's him. And I think as we define who we are and who we're becoming, he's just not going to play a role in it. And you look at the possibles, whether it be by draft or by free agent, there's some bodies out there that can help the Spurs immediately. They're 10 deep in the draft coming around the bend if they choose to keep things as they are, which even with Jeremy shopping doesn't mean it'll happen. And if it does, it might spur the way toward another one. It's kind of like your second beer. That first one, it might not taste great, but that second one goes down good. Maybe a first trade kind of loosens the seal on this. I just don't think it's going to happen. Let's talk some football on the other side. We are headed to Santa Clara to cover a big game. Let's look at what's gone on over the last couple of days with Seattle. I saw that the Blitz boys, are going to have Tariq Woolen, defensive back, UTSA stud, now with Seattle. Well, we followed his career closely. I remember going to his pro day. Remember what he said? What did he say to the Broncos the other day? So it'll be a great interview. And I heard Jason say it's going to be just after 2 o'clock, so I want to plug that show. Tariq Woolen will join the Blitz from Seattle. We're going to look at Seattle and the 49ers. We're going to look at Seattle and New England around the bend, see what's changed over the last couple of days as they get ready for their flight into beautiful San Francisco, look around the NFL. Got new coaches, all of that coming around the bend. Hang around with us for a few more minutes. Let's have some fun. This is the Morning Huddle here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. In good shape as you head out and about this midday. It's about a 10-12 minute ride on 1604 westbound Pat Booker Road on over to Bitters. 90 eastbound 211 to 410. That's also rolling a bit slowly. We do have a stall at 410 westbound approaching Vance Jackson. They quickly moved it off a main lane off to the shoulder. Now, if you guys see something we're not talking about, call us on the traffic tip line. We'll check it out. 210-785-2601. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Thomas J. Henry. Injury attorneys available 24/7.
Thomas J. Henry Law fights even when the insurance company says your claim is worth nothing. Thomas J. Henry doesn't back down. That's how we put over $1 billion in our clients' pockets in just the last 4 years. Visit thomasjhenrylaw.com. Principal office, San Antonio.
It's so easy you can do it in your underwear. You've all heard the little jingle. It's real. It works. We are quickly becoming America's leading car buyer at GiveMeTheVin.com. How do I know it works? Because if I don't beat your CarMax offer, I'll send you a check for a Husky. I put a bounty of $100 on a CarMax offer because I can beat them. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com. We'll bring you a check to your house, your office. We deliver. It's awesome. Give it a try.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Hey, the big game's almost here, if you know what I mean. And if your dog goes wild every time the doorbell rings, it's time for New Game Plan. Whether you scored a brand new puppy over the holidays or your current MVP needs better discipline, Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit's ready to help coach him up. Sign your dog up for professional training sessions focused on winning behavior. From boarding and daycare to expert training, Bluebonnet Bunkin' Biscuit is here for you. Call them today at 210-750-1298. That's 210-750-1298 today.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-269-3394. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394. 800-269-3394.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the big game in Silicon Valley. And the only local station bringing you exclusive wall-to-wall coverage from the Bay Area. All brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. We're live from Radio Row with insider interviews, breaking stories, and all the pregame excitement leading up to the superb hour. From the biggest names in sports to behind-the-scenes access, we've got it all. Your AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage is brought to you in part by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. Your front row seat to the backstage action, live from the Bay Area, is 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. You're listening to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
We don't keep no secrets here. It's the Morning Huddle. We are now on the precipice of the biggest week of the football year as we head to the Super Bowl. We'll be live for you all week long, coming from the Moscone Center. Myself in the morning, Minix in the afternoon. Lining up the interviews as we speak. We were just talking about the Emmitt Smith annual get-together. Well, I'm sure we'll talk a lot of Dallas Cowboys, future and present, with him when we see him. The game's getting closer and the money's coming. I just saw that Mattress Mac did his annual wager.
Oh, yeah. How much?
Let's see what we did. It's the biggest he's made, so let's see what he did. This was yesterday. He made a $2 million bet on the Super Bowl. It's the largest reported bet so far. Remember when he did it the first time and he had to drive across the state line, and I think he could only bet $10,000 at a time or something small.
So he carry it with a wheelbarrow?
Or he had to do something weird to go get the bet done. I hope he's kind of sped the process a little bit. He bet it was Caesars. Last week he placed a $2 million bet on the AFC to win the Super Bowl at 2-1. He'll win $4 million if the Patriots upset the Seahawks. It's the largest Super Bowl bet the Caesars has taken this year, and that's as of yesterday. I'm not sure how it'll work out. So the way that he balances this off, it's pretty brilliant. I'm surprised that somebody hadn't stepped in and stopped him for whatever reason, but he offsets the opportunity for loss for sales in the building. So he's hedging his bet with one of the typical promotions. He owns Gallery Furniture, if you're unaware, down there in Houston. Big old operation. If you spend $4,000 on a mattress and gear at his Gallery Furniture, and if the Patriots beat the Seahawks, you get the money back on your purchase.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, but the chances of the Patriots beating the Seahawks are pretty slim. So he bets the dog and hopes against hope that there's not an upset. Because then he wins the millions, but he loses the sales. So he hopes the millions offset the sales. I see what it's a brilliant idea, and it's worked for him. So that's the first to come, and that affected the line. He bet on the dog at Caesars. So whether we liked it or not, that was an artificial movement of the line by one dude. Now, I think it will, as is typical, round into form wherever it might be, and I don't know how much it actually moved, but I just know when money comes in like that, it normally moves the line just a little bit in favor of the dog. So here we sit. The Patriots, what are we looking at? Super Bowl MVP odds. Darnold is at plus 125. Drake May at 235. And Mattress Mac's going to need that MVP caliber play from Drake May to capitalize on that. JSN comes in at plus 550. Kenneth Walker at plus 600. The spread opened at 3.5. It's moved a full point to 4.5. Seahawks are now minus 230. Patriots are plus 190. The total has dropped a bit. It opened at 46.5. It sits as at least yesterday afternoon by the numbers I'm looking at 45.5. It might have changed even since then. And the FBI prediction still stands at the the Seahawks roughly at about 60% chance of winning. So the numbers are still kind of holding true, but don't pay attention to the way Mattress Mac bet. He's not betting on the win. He's betting to cover something else. And if he does win, just better for him. But at the end of the day, he's trying to cover the fact that he believes, at least by his in-depth research and millions of dollars invested, or at least bet, that the Seahawks are a prohibitive favorite, that the Seahawks are probably going to cover, and he's going to lose the bet, but he's going to get all the money from people spending $4,000 in his grocery store, in his furniture store for the foreseeable months. The injury list hasn't affected much. The guys are still kind of rounding in and heading into San Francisco, so we'll get more workout and more news as really the NFL's press has focused on the Hall of Fame issues and the hiring of Todd Monken at Baltimore. But one thing that hasn't really made a lot of news, and as you know, the Cowboys had to search high and low, and they finally got their guy and the defensive coordinator. Nobody's really talked about the fact that, you notice the Philadelphia Eagles have not hired an offensive coordinator? I find that really interesting. They don't have one. And I think the problem is, I don't think most offensive coordinators want to come into a situation where they've got to coordinate Jalen Hurts. I don't think if I'm an OC, you want me to take a job with a quarterback that I'm not sure can throw? So I found that it's a telling story, unless they're waiting on somebody that's coming from either New England or Seattle, which I don't think so. But the search continues in Philadelphia, and I think it's not a matter of finding someone that will take the pay. I think it's finding someone with an appropriate plan for how are we going to win games coming through this with Jalen Hurts. Because the RPO had kind of went away. They're not a threat as they used to be. The tush push has been legislated out of existence, so you don't get that extra down every series to go pad the stats and move the ball. It's going to be very telling as to who they hire and what they do with it, because you look at what Todd Monken is. Todd Monken coming over from Baltimore is now going to take over the Cleveland Browns. Monken has coached Lamar and done, when he's been healthy, a pretty good job with what he's done. When they brought Monken in, this had nothing to do with their Pro Bowl quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, though he will certainly benefit by his arrival. But I truly get the sense Todd Monken was brought in not to aid in Shedeur's development, but to get, I was going to call him a derogatory term, but to get their massage-loving quarterback back in the football world and let him play Deshaun Watson football again. I think that's why Monken's there. This has nothing to do with Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, or they're going to look at this was the team, the new coach arriving and going, these two quarterbacks ain't the future. I do have an all-pro, at least from the last decade, that has been sitting on the sidelines for 2 years. I firmly believe Monken is there for Deshaun, not there to grow or do whatever with Shedeur, who will benefit by his arrival, I believe, but it's not for his development. He just gets the crumbs as they try to find the next quarterback and get the bridge that Deshaun has become. Now we got to stick with the elephant in the room, the story of the day, the Belichick story. So as the anger has really boiled up around the league, and there's nobody will admit that they're fine with Belichick not getting in. Even with the Gates and the spy and the deflate, we were willing to look past that because he didn't cheat for all of them, did he? I don't know. But I think the best sound I've heard from anybody regarding this was a guy, a head coach, who's already in, who probably had some voters, that didn't like him either. Jimmy Johnson was on McAfee yesterday. And the sum total of what he said, it's not very long, but I do think that he absolutely reflects at what everybody's thoughts are. This is Jimmy on Pat's show yesterday.
First of all, I think this tarnishes everything in the Hall of Fame. All of the inductees, everybody in the Hall of Fame, just because of 10 or 11 or 12 ignorant, jealous holes who did not vote for him. I think it tarnishes everything about the Hall of Fame.
It does lessen its value. It does. If you're a Hall of Fame member and you'd like to think that I went through the process, I got the votes, everything is appropriate, and the career justified it. It is the glory of glories. It is the place to be. And the moment that voters or fans lose any kind of thoughts of credibility, you're not who we thought you were, it lessens your reward. You're no longer as esteemed because the truly esteemed aren't here. So obviously the system is flawed. The place doesn't represent truth. So if I'm already a gold jacket wearer, a bust owner, I'd be furious today too, whether I wanted him in or not. The guy has 8 Super Bowls. And it's funny how we are now, a little over 36 hours, closer to 48 hours since the announcement that he wasn't in. And, initially everybody said, well, remember the Gates, remember Spy and Deflate. There was that, and he never really paid a price. And there was the connection with him and Brady. And when Brady left, he wasn't the same coach. He certainly wasn't a winning coach. His most recent efforts in North Carolina have been less than stellar. And he cheated. So maybe we'll make him wait. Well, that cheated stuff has gone under the water, man. Have you heard anybody? I didn't hear Jimmy Johnson go, well, what about Deflategate? What about the film crew and the fake video? What about that? I haven't heard that from anyone. No one. Shireen Williams brought it up, but right after she brought it up, she told us, I voted for him. But she did mention that in the process, because the Blitz had her on the Tuesday after the announcement. And she talked in describing the process. On a sidebar, she goes, and there might be some people that do hold that against him. And she carried on, which tells me that it might have been vocal, that in this presentation, those voters, those journalists, those that hold that point, they might have had an obvious, overt discussion. Like, no, I don't want him in for this and that, because Shireen intimated that there was. My thought was they all had the ballot in front of them. They all put their hands over the ballot, covered it up with their arm, put their head down, no copying, submitted their ballot, and didn't want anybody to know how they voted. But you can always tell, as when you hear the Supreme Court arguments, that the judges have, normally by their angle of their question, they have an agenda. And I think writers in there that had the agenda to say that Belichick doesn't deserve to go for whatever reason you want to pick, made the argument, made the point, and then the vote was had. And I think most of the writers thought, not enough, I'm voting him in. But 10 or 11, what a-holes, as Jimmy Johnson called it that. So we've got a current Hall of Fame head coach who was upset. And then we've got the golden boy, Pat McAfee. And J.J. Watt carried on the thought of Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame.
There are literally like 2-3 people in history that are absolute no-brainer locks whatsoever, Bill and Tom being 2 of those. And I saw something where one of the voters was like, why should the votes be released? What are you going to do? Because you shouldn't have a vote. If you have Bill Belichick not making the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you should not have a vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy has 8 Super Bowl titles. There's only been 59 of them. He's got 8 rings from 59. Like, what are you doing? What qualifications do you want? How do you tell the story of the NFL without Bill Belichick? Yeah, if you didn't have him on your ballot, and I get this whole like, well, there was 3 spots and you can only put, like, I don't care. If there's only 3 spots, Bill Belichick is spot number 1, point blank, period. You figure out who fits in the other 2. No other matter should happen. He is in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, no matter what. The guy beat me left, right, and center multiple times. I should have every reason to hate him. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer without question. This is stupid.
So we have a former coach, and we have a player who admit, hey, man, this guy beat me front, line, and center over and over. Now, he didn't bring up the fact that he could have been cheating while he did it. Did they beat you with flat balls? Did they defeat you with flattened balls? Did they somehow record your practices when you were with the Texans? Did they have some sort of information that only Belichick and his CIA group of underlings went and found? Is that how they beat you repeatedly? I don't hear anybody asking that question. Because the momentum is such that this is a travesty, first and foremost. No matter what his history was, no matter what, he paid the fine, they gave up the draft picks, we carried on, he should be in. And I thought there would be a little bit more resistance. I thought there would be a few more guys go, yeah, he deserves it, but shame. You got to spend a year in purgatory. You're going to have some interviews where you talk about what you did and take full responsibility for something that, quite frankly, you might not have already. I thought that's the way we were going to go, but no, we have not gone that direction at all. It has gone the other way. The NFL Hall of Fame voters are now looked at like ICE members, making votes with a mask on. We don't know who you are and why. That's how we're looking at it. They are now the group that views themselves as the bastion of the history, the keepers of the league's story. They enshrine the story of the players that then writes the league. It is their job to maintain this long line. And cheating should be at the bare minimum a speed bump, a delay toward getting toward a place that you probably do deserve despite that. Baseball doesn't play, man. You cheated, you don't get to come. Football's been a little bit more lax. You can juice up. Just don't gamble. Don't test positive. We'll let you smoke a little bit of weed now. We'll let you play. We know it's a physical game. It's going to take a lot of stuff. Just don't do a couple of things and you're good. Baseball, if you don't do it once, you're done. Ask all the guys that are dead now that'll never get in. I'm not sure NFL wants to go that route, and obviously they haven't decided which route they want to go. They have erred in the way of, well, we got you this time. I wonder who else will pay this price. I wonder if there's somebody floating around out there that, like Tom Brady, who flattened his balls. I wonder if he'll pay a price. I wonder if he'll still be a first ballot. Because keep in mind, one of the accusations for Belichick, he has all the plausible deniability to keep him out of being directly involved with the Deflategate. He could say he didn't know. Now, New England had to pay. They lost draft picks. But Belichick could say, I didn't know. And we couldn't pin it on him. But we could put it on Tom. So each of them have been pinned on. They have been fingered and convicted of direct cheating. Brady had to sit 4 games out. Now, he got to do it on a yacht off the Amalfi Coast, but he did get the suspension. Do you think because Belichick didn't get in, they're going to go that way with Brady? I know this. By the time Brady is about to be voted on, the process is going to change. I can't imagine the bated breath and the nervous NFL suits a year from now, when they're trying to figure out if Brady is a first ballot. Which one of those writers are going to go, hey, yeah, hell of a career, but you cheated. You had a great run, but for at least 1 year, I feel like you helped yourself in the cold weather. I can't imagine that happens, and I think it'll be because of the process. But I'll tell you this, it'll make it a whole lot easier to put Tom and go, yeah, we'll see you next year. Maybe the following year. Go do your TV, say hut again, and sell some pizza. But you're not going to be in the Hall of Fame this year because you cheated. I really thought I would hear that. Now I think Brady skates in with 100%. I think that they're going to fix this, and they're going to have a special dispensation that will allow Belichick to come in next year and be considered, and also whatever other coaches that will be available next year will also get that benefit, because the logjam that'll happen from here on out, that only one coach normally gets in and everybody's now waiting a year, I don't think the NFL wants to live with that. They got to get over that, especially next year as we're coming in and some of the bigger names we've been waiting on are going to be going in. We're going to continue talking this, close out the show the right way, and head you out on the street in an appropriate manner. We'll be right back. This is the Morning Huddle, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Big Game Giveaway. Predict the exact score of the big game in Santa Clara, California, and you could score $50,000. Make your predictions now at sasportstar.com. The 50K Big Game Giveaway, brought to you by Dietz Tractor. Score big with Dietz Tractor in Seguin and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For 100 days, I'm going to cross the 7 continents because the answers to everything important are out there at the edges of our world. I'm stepping into the unknown. Where are we going? To see our planet as it's never been seen before. From pole to pole.
Pole to Pole with Will Smith from National Geographic. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Show me the way.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a time out to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of San Antonio is offering $250 off per qualifying window and $550 off per qualifying door, and no payments, no interest, if paid in full within 12 months.
Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends January 31st, 2026.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226. 800-888-5226.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
You got a slip of the tongue like that, Minix?
Not like that.
I've heard one from our good friend Maury Vasquez talking about Deion Sanders back in the day when Sanders played for the Dallas Cowboys and was on the air at Ken's 5 and said, well, Sanders not playing because he's got a he's got a bulging Richard in his back.
Not a disc.
Not a disc.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio's sports star.
This is Jason Minix from The Blitz. You're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Not Joe's.
Good old days.
It's the Morning Huddle. That's front 242 for those of you unaware. Welcome back. We're winding down. You know, last night prior to the Spurs game, ESPN had the Laker Cleveland game, the one time that LeBron will visit Cleveland this year. And, you know, there was the build-up because obviously LeBron is winding down his career, and we know the connection with Cleveland. I didn't expect what I saw last night from LeBron. That was a unique situation. If you paid any attention to a game that really, quite frankly, wasn't very good. Cleveland smoked them. But LeBron was brought to tears. I mean, he was a very emotional basketball player last night. And I heard Kendrick Perkins talking about it yesterday, and he brought up something that I find very interesting, that for Cleveland, at least in his mind, and he said he's known LeBron since, early 90s or late 90s when he was a kid, that Cleveland is the only place LeBron feels truly loved. And that's a crazy thought because, Miami, you'd like to think he's a legend, but, there were titles won before him. You look at the Lakers, he's just one in a continuum. And you wonder where he's going to land next. And, his emotions combined with what appears to be a rather open-minded Cleveland Cavalier organization, it wouldn't shock me one bit. One bit. One, for him to get traded to Cleveland. I think there's some financial gymnastics that would have to occur, but it wouldn't surprise me. But more likely in my mind is to see him finish out in Cleveland next year. Everybody that has a thought about it, I think all agrees that it would be kind of the perfect storybook the bookend. You started and you finished. But I'll tell you this, that would be the easiest way to do it. You sign him as a free agent, you get him for your dollar. But right now, the East is kind of open. The East is, Detroit. Are you really afraid of Detroit? They're a good young team, but you still got to feel you need a little bit of something, having been there and done that. And while Cleveland hadn't done it all, they have done a few things. I wouldn't put it past Cleveland to make a little bit of an offer to go and see what you can get. It might involve losing a Mobley or a Jared Allen, but I think you could survive that. I think you could survive getting through there because you're going to end up with him anyway. And when you do end up with him, it's going to be kind of a ceremonial year anyway. I don't think next year he might have a benefit. But this year, given where we see Boston sitting, and we know that the Knicks are certainly up and down, and Milwaukee's about to completely evacuate the roster, I don't know why, if I'm not Cleveland, I'm not thinking about trying to make some kind of deal work. Obviously, LeBron wants to go back. Obviously, man, I just didn't expect to see the genuine feeling of emotion and the idea that the only place he can feel comfortable and loved is Cleveland because that's where he's from. For the most part, I don't think LeBron plays a road game. I mean, everywhere he goes, there's 500 people minimum on the road, thousands and thousands in his previous places where he has played, wearing his jersey. You'd think he'd feel loved and adored everywhere, but Cleveland, man, the land it's real, and I do think that emotional attachment will, and in the Lakers, I think desperate desire to end this chapter and carry on with Luka and what might happen as soon as he's gone. I think that the chances of LeBron actually getting traded are increasing. It's just the gymnastics that have to go along with it. We talked about that. Anthony Davis is going to be able to be – Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson from the Mavericks are imminently available, it looks like. And just like any of these deals with injured and aging dudes and massive salary cap hits, it won't take a lot of your manpower to get him except for the salaries to match. all day long, I've talked about the Spurs and their need for a mobile, defensive-minded, athletic, big four. Now, Anthony Davis doesn't fill all of those, and given his age, he might not fill most of those. But for a minute, for a year, a guy that isn't going to demand much but a little bit of time and some IR space, what do you think about that? Or Klay Thompson. Vic, would you make a deal for Klay Thompson?
Man, I don't know. Got to think about it.
So that's a no.
Nah. I don't know. We got to do with what we got.
Well, then there's certainly the argument to do that. And I think if the Spurs had lost last night, our conversations would be a little bit more serious. I do. I think if they had gone down last night the way that we thought that they could go down, I think that the conversation today and over this next week would be a whole lot more heated. Because we're not going to learn anything about our front line in Charlotte. They don't offer anything that's going to kind of scare us other than youthful exuberance in a road game. But we saw what we're going to have to deal with over the last week. The potential playoff partners that we've seen in Houston showed us the way. We know what we're going to have to do. We saw what Minnesota did to us. We know the physicality is going to matter, and we managed to come up with it last night and overcome it. But, you know, if we hadn't, I think the discussion today would be a much more stern about not just Jeremy Sohan finding a place to go, but more important, using the conversation would have been today, what are we going to use along with Jeremy Sohan to go get that piece, that part that we need? And Mitch bought some more time. And, you know, as the trade deadline ticks closer and closer, once it's there and it's passed, it's over. And the questions go to free agency, and then you can start focusing on the team. And right now, I think Mitch would just soon run out the clock. Let's just continue to win and hide our deficiency and try to fix it on our timeline and just carry on instead of having it talked about and forced and being an issue of contention that we have to get this guy or that guy because without him, we can't. We just saw the example over the last week and a half that the physical teams we can't beat. Well, finally, we got that opportunity last night and did it with shining colors. It was the perfectly coached game, and for 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters, just about as good a defense as the Spurs can play. And it certainly wasn't pretty. When you have to put Steph Castle on their 7-foot center, their 7-foot, 300-pound center, it's not going to be pretty, but it was effective. The offense wasn't gorgeous. Wemby went 0 for 3. He hadn't hit a shot against the Rockets all year. Not just this game, not just last, like all year he hadn't hit a 3. So it wasn't a beautiful exhibition of offense. The thing that we were worried about the most came through. And I don't even put it at the feet of the players other than, boy, they hustled, they worked hard, but they hustled into a scheme that Coach Johnson put together that worked. And it was putting little on bigs, inverting the offense, and first and foremost, letting Wemby get mad. And it worked. But as we head into this trade week, when the attentions of the world kind of focus on San Francisco, and don't forget about last year. Don't forget about the trade that rocked the world, that kind of swallowed up Super Bowl coverage for about 3 days. It wouldn't shock me a bit. Not in the least. That by the time we're talking again as a trio on Monday or Tuesday, that Giannis is exited, and the move will be one of those that happens every 2 or 3 years, where we're 5, 6 guys, 4 or 5 draft picks, 3 or 4 teams, the kind of thing that shifts the very power dynamic of the league. Could happen over the next 3 days because Ja Morant is waiting. Karl Anthony Towns is waiting. Giannis is waiting. Anthony Davis is waiting. Zach LaVine is waiting. Jonathan Kuminga is waiting. All of these guys are probably going to get moved, but nothing can happen until Giannis moves. So I fully expect that is going to happen, and the Spurs will have 0 play in that. None. If anybody's still holding out hope that's going to be something, it better be on the cheap. It better be one of those Godfather-type deals that only comes around every 15 years, one of those Houston Texans O'Brien sending wide receiver to another team for a bag of beans and a handshake. One of those kind of moves. I just don't see that happening. I don't think a Luka deal will happen 2 years in a row, but crazier things have happened. Well, here we sit. We've rounded out our Thursday afternoon. I'm about to hit the streets. AJ will, in fact, return tomorrow. I want to plug the Blitz to this afternoon. At a little after 2 o'clock, UTSA's own and starting Seattle Seahawk defensive back Tariq Woolen will join the Blitz right off the bat, kind of kicking off our Super Bowl big game coverage that'll be front to back all week long. So make sure you get here early to listen to Tariq have to explain what he did to piss off the Broncos so much the other day. It's about time for us to start talking about that Seattle defense and what we expect them to do with that New England offense, and I think we're going to get into that pretty heavy tomorrow when AJ does return from his Vegas sojourn. He likes to do it every day as we close out the day, and I'll do it for you as well. We got just a couple of minutes. Let's look at some daily lines opportunity. Let's see if we can fire off a sounder and end this show the way that we should on a normal basis. Looking around the NBA.
It's the Morning Huddle's look at the daily lines with AJ and Rob on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You covered, yeah! Speak of the devil, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to head into Washington. They are -2.5 as we get on the freak watch. The Sacramento Kings are in Philly, and they're an 11.5-point dog. Atlanta hosting the Rockets. They expect the Rockets to rebound a 3.5-point. That's a 7 o'clock tip. Heat and the Bulls are going to go at it. Heat -1.5. Charlotte Hornets, the Spurs' next opponent, are taking on the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, and they're a 4.5-point favorite. Brooklyn Nets, we just talked about them, are playing host to Denver. Denver 6.5. Holding steady there, hadn't changed. Detroit and Phoenix, probably the best game of the night. It's an 8 o'clock tip. Phoenix right now is a 4.5-point dog, but they're in Phoenix. I kind of like Phoenix here. Just going to say there might be some money to be had there. And Oklahoma City continues their conquest of the Western Conference. They're 7.5-point favorites over the Minnesota Timberwolves. In college basketball, really only 2 games that featured top 25 teams. Iowa State sitting at number 8, taking on Colorado, hosting them. 17.5 points is the number there. If you're feeling comfortable, maybe you put some money on the Buffalo. And Illinois taking on Washington. Washington crossing all those time zones. Landing in the Urbana-Champaign region, and they are a 12.5-point dog. Illinois is a legitimate Final Four contender. If they're playing at home, it's very hard to go against them. I certainly like Illinois in every possible number you can get, including the over, which is at 153.5. I think they do hit 154. That'll kind of do it for the Blitz this week. I'm about to hit the streets. If you have any Mardi Gras suggestions, any restaurant suggestions, find me on the socials. Let me know. I will report back as to what the availabilities are. Vic, are you going to be able to carry on without me for the next 3 days? Oh, for the next week?
Yeah, I think I'll be all right.
Oh, you're going to be heartbroken and sad.
Yeah.
You can admit it.
Yeah.
I won't be in the building, but I'll be with you next week.
Don't leave me alone with AJ.
Oh, AJ's going to come back renewed and refreshed from Viva Las Vegas. He'll be sitting in this studio all alone tomorrow. Make sure you give him your full attention. Thanks for hanging with me today. See you next week. It's been the Blitz.
94.1 San Antonio Sports